Welcome back to another episode of the Bills Podcast.
You gotta do the thing.
You gotta do the thing.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bills Podcast.
It's too deep, dude. I hear it now. It's like the AI voiceover of like the murder stories or whatever you see on TikTok. That's what that sounds like to me.
You know what we should do? We should just put a black box over my face when we do the intro.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Welcome, Pops.
Well, no, thank you.
Yeah. Grandpa Ted.
Yeah, times
Just had
a few.
yeah, you got 6 now.
Yeah, geez
But
Louise.
you just had 2 in the last 2 months.
Yeah, it's wild. You just aged me quick.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
you
was
just
really
hit
young
60.
when I had you. So.
You just had 60.
Yeah.
So today's guest is Andrew's dad,
Yeah.
Ted Burns.
Conspiracy theorist.
No.
Slash.
No. Mm-mm. No, realist.
Yeah.
Big difference. If it smells like an apple, tastes like an apple, and looks like an apple, it's not an orange. Just saying.
Hey.
Is it a banana though?
No.
Ted is a true American icon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so you're just about to get into politics. I heard Harris Burns 2024.
Not likely. Not a fan. I don't know if we should start the podcast that way.
I
but,
don't think
you know.
I don't think we're going to actually. I did have a little bit of a direction I wanted to take this in.
Before we do that, you want to give like a little intro?
As far as,
Yourself, who you are, what you do.
well, I'm Ted. You guys already introduced me as that.
The door.
Yeah, right. It's obviously short for Theodore.
A little bit closer.
So I work in large tonnage refrigeration, which he works with me now for the same company. Before that, I was an electrician for 24 years. Yeah, 24. Yeah, since I was 18. Yeah. So 20, because I'm 40, I'm 46.
You've been at the company for 5 years.
Almost 5 in December. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would put you at 22 years.
22 years. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I was off. I was an electrical contractor for a little while. It didn't really pan out. I mean, it was great while it lasted.
Yeah. No, it was
You know,
fantastic.
I don't need to go into details on that, but it just didn't work out. And I mean, now as far as working for yourself, that's a whole different ball game than working for somebody else. When you work for yourself, you're on the clock basically 24/7 versus you can punch in and punch out kind of thing. Which I mean, we don't really have that where we are now. It's more of a you just put your time in. Pretty convenient. You don't have somebody breathing down your neck all day long, sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, I enjoy what I do now. I enjoy my life. A little more freedom than I had before. Whereas it was hard to take vacations and such when you're working for yourself. It's kind of makes it difficult, especially when I was working out of town for weeks on end.
How long did you work for yourself?
5 years?
I don't know if you guys heard it, but Johnny asked, how long did you work for yourself?
5 years.
I think that sounds about right.
About right. Yeah,
Yeah.
about 5 years. It was cool. I mean, I had employees and things like that. It was unfortunate having to lay them off, and I had to liquidate the company and so on and so forth. I mean, it was hard to find people to begin with, and then the ones that you actually had that were worth a shit, I guess you could say.
So you had 12 employees?
13.
13.
Yeah. Most of the work was Bay Area. We're all in California.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever's listening to this, if they don't know the Bay Area, it's in the West in California, coastline, San Francisco area kind of thing. I didn't have any jobs in downtown San Francisco, but I had like Palo Alto, San Jose.
You had a job at the mall.
I
or
did.
the
I
outlets?
did a lot of mall tenant improvements. Yeah, worked out pretty good. Livermore outlets. I did a Salvatore Ferragamo and Clark Shoe remodel. I built a 3-story Indian restaurant in Sunnyvale.
Okay.
Well, I didn't build it. I did the electrical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
electrical and data infrastructure kind of thing. But yeah, no, I mean, had some pretty good projects. When they expanded the Palo Alto Mall, the Stanford Shopping Center, I had a nice job there. You know, it was a pretty big union move over there, you know, so being a non-union electrical contractor, getting inside there, not that I have anything against the union. I was a union guy for a long time. I mean, I find that there's advantages and disadvantages to both sides, union and non-union. But that was a good job. It was pretty cool. It was a jewelry store. It was pretty cool. A lot of different lighting. You know, somewhat of a design build in a sense. I mean, there was a lighting package, but at the same time, none of it fit. Yeah. You know, I mean, don't get me started on that. But I think engineers should have to be in the field.
Common field.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Before they can actually like draw plans on what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't actually work out right ever. And every construction guy that ever listens to this should more than likely agrees with me.
100%. 100%.
You know, so
Architectural design.
that's just horrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, anyway, I mean, that's just basically it. I mean, I've been in construction since I was 18 years old. 18 years old. Before that, I lied about my age and worked at Purina Mills in Turlock as a bag stacker because I was a no life, you know, no money. My dad died when I was 17. Didn't have the option of moving with my mother over in Gilroy. So I had to figure it out, you know. Lied about my age, got a job at Purina in Turlock. I don't think I can get in trouble for that now.
Statute of limitations.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those scenarios on this podcast so far where we're like, can we say that? Yeah, I think we're all right.
I mean, you had to be 18 to work there, so, you know, but I needed a damn job, and building Christmas tree stands and stuff like that wasn't a career by any means. Turns out, you know, working at Purina wasn't a career for me either. You know, I think at the time I was making $13 an hour, $13.25
back in 1947.
Yeah.
That was good money, dude.
Yeah, you know, but I was like an operator that was able to run all the equipment. So I got trained on every single piece of equipment, from the pellet mill systems to the bagging systems to micrograin, you know, everything, the micro controls and so on and so forth. I had to learn everything, running train cars, you know, pulling them with a tugger and shit, you know, shit like that. But I had to learn all that stuff just to gain an extra 75 cents an hour. And that got me to $13.25. So, you know, granted, back then I think
17 years old.
But I think I was paying rent. I think my rent was $4.75 a month. You know, so realistically, you know, $13 an hour, you know, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, you know, in Turlock. $4.75. You can't even fathom that shit now.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
Not even close.
I'd be living in a mansion on what I'm paying for this place. So.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, well, I obviously had to grow up really fast. You know, he was born when I was 18. So that, you know, time to man up quick when something like that happens, you know.
Yeah.
Or be a dirtbag, which that just wasn't an option in my way of life, my upbringing. So, you know, I mean, I had a hard ass for a dad, but I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of random questions he's going to ask me about that. So that's the excellent segue into. So you had a difficult childhood, far more difficult than anybody else at this table for sure. Has had, obviously me. I mean, I did not have a difficult childhood by any means. You were an asshole for sure. Yeah, it wasn't easy for you, but I mean, you know.
So, how old were you when your mom moved to Gilroy?
8.
You were 8.
I was 8, and I lived over there. So, yeah, I think I was 8, and we lived in an apartment in a shitty neighborhood on Fairview Avenue. I remember that. It's crazy how, you forget things, but then sometimes when you're having a conversation, like certain things pop up in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, little in the ghetto, pretty much. Yeah, grew up in the ghetto. Well, not grew up, but I was 8 years old and over there.
Yeah.
Moved in with my dad when I was 10. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want me to elaborate on that, or?
Huh? Yeah,
So-
I want you to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you visit your dad? When you
Yeah,
were
in the
living with
summer.
Mom? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd take us for I think a month at a time, my sister and I, and
Jen. Yeah.
yeah, Jennifer, and we would go camping for like 3 weeks, pretty much, or go to my grandmother's house, and just for the summer, and then back with Mom. Had my first beer when I was like 9 years old. These little tiny little Budweisers. I remember specifically. We were sitting at the college over there in Gilroy. And my dad's like, "Here you go," and I had 2 of them. They were like this big. He dropped me off hammered at my mom's house, and I was like 9.
Perfect for
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was like a F you Betty, to my mom, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, this is good, bubbly.
So
I love beer.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So was that? So did you ever go back to your mom's after that?
No.
To live there?
No, it was final at 10 years old.
All right. So your time in Gilroy was not fun.
No.
Like you had.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
limitations on everything, or what?
Yeah, as far as going outside.
Yeah.
I mean, what I did, my mom would drop me off at my Uncle Joe's house a lot. So her brother Joe, so she could go do whatever she was doing. And Uncle Joe was awesome though, and don't get me wrong, he's a hardcore Portuguese, just he had no hold back. He'd whoop your ass. Like it was just, you screw up, you jump, bam, but he had horses. He lived out in the country in Gilroy, closer to like Morgan Hill area, which is roughly 10-15 minutes northeast or northwest of Gilroy. And granted, I didn't know Northwest and all that back then, but I do now.
I still don't. So we're good.
But so I would spend a lot of time at Uncle Joe's house with my cousins who tortured the shit out of me. But it is what it is. I still had fun riding 3-wheelers like an idiot. Evil Knievel stuff, having horse shit fights. Throwing because my uncle built a racetrack in a part of his property for my cousin Manuel to ride around on, and it had little jumps and stuff, and we'd like literally have horse shit fights, chasing each other on 3-wheelers, and just launching them.
We did that. We've done that in Oklahoma before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cow shit fights.
Yep.
I rode horses a lot. Started riding horses probably when I was 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
It's fun. I love horses. I don't have any now. I don't think I want any because they're man.
Yeah. Huge maintenance.
Yeah, and I'm all no.
I don't got
No thanks. I got enough shit to do all the time where I don't need to, be tending to horses too. I have 4 dogs. That's enough.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So school in Gilroy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you've told me stories, obviously my whole life, and I want to get into a couple of them.
Of course you
Getting, I think they're great content, to be
pass.
honest.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go for it.
I told you have to say Joe Biden. I'm not answering that. Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
So you've told me stories about like getting beat up a lot.
Yes.
So that was between 8 and 10 years old.
Yes.
So see, I thought you were a lot older in those stories.
Mm-mm.
So like walking home from school,
running.
Mm-hmm. So you want to get into that?
Yeah.
Bit?
So how do you say it without sounding like liberal? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've considered myself a kind of a liberal conservative now for the last 12 years, something like that, 12 to 14 years. And when I say that, I don't mean the bastardized version of liberal either. Mm-hmm. I don't mean like the crazy side of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I want good for everyone. I don't care where you come from, what your religion is, your background. I don't care about your skin color. I'm not even going to say I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, whatever. I don't care about any of that shit whatsoever. If you're a good person, you're a good person.
Yeah. Period.
I have friends of all demographics. I had 2 guys from Iran, is the right way to say it, not Iran, right? Yeah. Iran working for me, actually. One's name was Shahab, and the other one name was Reza Askarbuki, right? Mm. Great dudes, great guys. They spoke Farsi, and apparently they have more letters in their alphabet than we do. So good luck trying to learn how to speak their language. Yeah. You know, I've had friends that are Laotian. Obviously, I have black friends. You know, I don't call them African Americans because they're black. They're not from Africa. They don't have any family there. None of that shit. Yep. You know, they're just my friends. You know, we're all Americans anyway.
Yeah.
I don't do that kind of stuff. But anyhow, racism is real. It is. It's always been a thing. I'm pretty sure it always will be a thing. And it may change in certain areas. And, you know, I'm Spanish and Portuguese, right? With some Scottish Irish in there, you know, clearly my last name, you know, there's different demographics there, but am I white or am I not white? I think I'm more red than anything, but you know, that's just I can't help it, you know, I'm a little red. But I was basically, you just call me white, right? So I was probably the only white kid in the 10-block radius of that, in that apartment complex, right? I had no other white kids around, you would say. I went to Glenview Elementary School, which was a complete shithole. Which, whatever. I mean, it was elementary school, right? But there was a few guys that were older than me. I don't know their ages or anything. They were just a lot bigger and a lot older, and they lived in the same apartment complex. And basically, if I didn't make it home before they saw me, I was getting my ass thrown in bushes and, you know, beat up a little bit and so on and so forth. Yeah. And so, you know, living a childhood of whether or not that was racist or they were looking at it as oh, let's get the white boy kind of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whether or not that was it, I didn't see anybody else getting their ass whooped. You know, they were Mexican kids. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was kind of advanced forward a little bit. When I moved with my dad, I actually had a little bit of a hatred towards Mexican people, you know, because of that. Yeah. Because that's all I saw, you know, getting your ass kicked by Mexican kids all the time. You came over here, you know, granted I learned how to fight a little bit before I moved with my dad, or actually when I moved with my dad, because he didn't hold back on nothing. But I mean, he slammed my friend's head into the table one time. He's like, "Yeah, you're over here, and somebody's, you know, getting at you," and he just grabs my friend by the back of his head and just slam me. You grab that guy first, and then you just boom, you know. He was kind of different, you know, old school, you know. But you know, and when I moved over here, it was like, I didn't put up with shit from anybody, and I'm not a violent person, but I had no worry. I was like, whoa, one-on-one?
Eat.
There's not 5 of you?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get this. You know, it was crazy. And that was in Turlock, you know, and I remember doing the same thing to a guy that came at me, being a punk, that got done to me by 5 guys. I picked him up and threw him in the bushes.
Yeah.
You know, at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, it is what it is, you know. And that was only because he came after me.
You would just, you know.
Defending
your time
myself,
and
you know.
stuff, yeah.
It wasn't really... I've never been an aggressor. I don't
Yeah.
start problems with anybody.
Finish
But
them
I have no issue fighting back
Yeah.
by any means whatsoever.
So you go from that getting jumped, you know, every day you couldn't beat them home, to now you go to your dad's house in Turlock, and
It's
had
actually my grandma's house.
okay,
He lived with my grandma,
gotcha,
along with my uncle Glenn.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
in
then
Turlock in the country.
gotcha. So there was a little bit of property,
Yep.
quite a bit, or
It was probably like a half acre. Something
Oh,
like
okay.
that, you know.
So you go from that to where, you know, you're sprinting home, you're spending all your time at your uncle's house pretty much.
Almost every weekend.
Yeah. So your mom can
Do
do
her
what?
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you go from that to now you almost have a little bit too much structure at your dad's house to where, you know, you had not what you had to get done, but you had a time limit on how much you had to do per day, every day after school.
Yes.
Before,
But that was not when we lived with my grandmother.
okay.
When we lived with my grandmother, I had to help with their produce business, right? Which in turn, so my dad and my uncle Ed had they were basically produce peddlers. You know, they'd buy the crop off the trees, not the acreage, but they would buy the crop, right? So they'd go out with their own boxes and everything, own pickers, so on and so forth, pack everything in boxes, this and that, store them at my grandma's, whatever it may be, as they were distributing them to markets in the Bay Area, like Berkeley Bowl produce, and, you know, little markets back when, you know, Chinatown. We'd go to Chinatown with boxes of yams and cherries and, you know, just things like that.
Okay.
But you're talking about, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about the 2 hours minimum of yard work every single day. Yeah, that was when my dad, he was renting a house out on Diane Drive in Turlock, and it's the house that's the only house left standing next to Dust Bowl now, right there by the car dealership.
Okay.
The Ram dealership there. I think it's like salmon color now or something, so you can't miss it from the freeway or anything. But that was the house where, you know, it was a rental, but it was surrounded by a grape vineyard, which belonged to somebody else, right? But they rented the house. The guy that owned the property didn't live there, right? But it was like a half acre or 3/4 of an acre of house and driveway and little field next to it, and, you know, that kind of thing, that belonged and was the responsibility of whoever rented the house.
Okay.
Big old shop, you know, that kind of stuff. That was where the 2 hours of yard work minimum, you know. But I mean, before that, living with grandma, I was like, I mean, I'm out there scrawny little, you know, 65-pound 10-year-old freaking throwing watermelons and pitching watermelons and stuff, you know, in an assembly line, you know, loading,
Yeah.
you know, stacking boxes and swinging hammers to fix the broken slats on the boxes and, you know, stuff like that, you know. I guess learning how to work, you know, working in the fields. You know, my other uncles, besides my dad's brother Ed, that they had the produce business, but my other uncles had a farm labor business. So three other uncles had a farm labor business where they had their own picking crews, and one in particular, I'm going to give him a shout out. Now, granted, he'll never hear this probably. I think he's like 89 or 90 years old now. His name was David. He was like the foreman of the picking crew.
Mm-hmm.
Cool dude. Great dude. I remember he had a little tassel hanging off the back of his hat and everything, you know, out in the field. But I wasn't like the rich white kid on the ladder, you know, or the rich white kid on the tractor. I was the poor white trash on the damn ladder with, you know, picking peaches and plums and nectarines and, you know, things like that. I didn't get the luxury of driving the tractor, you know. But I mean, I did a couple times, don't get me wrong. I learned how to drive when I was like 11.
To the Bay Area.
That was 14.
Okay.
Hauling loads of produce to the Bay Area for my Uncle Ed while he was over there smoking blunts, you know, or whatever, in the passenger seat. You know, he's ripping the bong or whatever, you know, driving to the Bay Area. And actually, he rolled joints, I should say. He didn't. I don't think there was a thing like bongs back then. That was a long time ago. I mean, I'm sure there was, but it wasn't my thing. But yeah, I was literally driving to the Bay Area without a license, and you know, in a flatbed dually. You know, like a 16-foot flatbed dually. You know, old International, just 14 years old, is running to the bay. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking. I keep jumping back and forth, and I apologize for that. But you're talking about the minimum of 2 hours of yard work every day. So even when my buddies wanted to go somewhere and do something, they'd come over to pick me up or whatever, because I had friends that were older than me. Mm-hmm. I've always hung out with people that were older than me for some reason. Maybe because I had to be mature faster or something. I don't know. You know, be a man, right?
Yeah.
And so my buddy Chris had come over. And it's like Friday night, and my dad would just come up with some shit for me to do, you know. You know, go pull the weeds on that friggin', you know, quarter-acre lot on the side of the, you know, the north side of the house, you know. I'm like, can I use the tractor? No. No. You guys pull those weeds. It's like, oh, my God.
You guys.
Yeah, so Chris is like, let's get it done, man. We got to get to that party. I'm like, yeah, I know. Let's go. You know, because, I mean, we used to have bonfires out by the ridge and stuff at the King's Ranch. The Kings were a very wealthy family. Well, I thought they were when I was a kid. I have no idea if they're wealthy or not. But
yeah,
they had, you know, property on the river there, and we called it the Ridge. You know, we'd all go out there and have a bonfire and drink beer and mud bog and all kinds of stuff. You know, that was just kind of a thing to do on the weekend.
So
and fight.
Sorry. So I don't want to force you to like speak the entire time because you haven't had another beer yet. So do you want to take a second to grab another beer out of your ice chest that you brought yourself?
Yes.
Feel free.
I come prepared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like we have to absolutely have you talk for, you know,
You guys want
2
one?
hours or whatever.
They're
No, I'm
skinnies.
good, thank
They're
you.
skinnies. You know, watching my girlish figure, you know what I mean?
I will forewarn you guys. Johnny's sitting in the corner. We haven't got a fourth mic yet, so
Yeah,
if you hear back,
it's incoming, but he's talking a lot more than he was supposed to. So
I'll dial it down.
You're trying to get 46 years out of information in
yeah,
a matter of
In
an
46
hour or
minutes.
so. Yeah, It's like, I don't know if that's gonna work, man. This
Yeah.
chair is squeaky.
yeah.
That's not me
You can
farting.
hear-
I promise.
We'll
folks.
have a couple more actual like office chairs in here. I mean, this
Yeah.
one squeaks too, though. So
Yeah,
they,
wow.
they all do. It's a charity.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah,
a
we'll just
charity.
build you a awesome table for in here or something real quick.
yeah,
It'll be
we
easy.
definitely need to get
Yeah, we were talking
something
about that.
better than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, you
You
got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, jinx.
All right, so
Now you owe me a beer.
we did jump a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Timelines.
yeah. So you moved back with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
So your mom and your dad were together until you were 8?
No. I was
Okay,
6 months
okay,
old when
so-
I separated.
Okay, so
According
she,
to my sister Kathy, Yeah, that's a whole new. Yeah.
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 So-
I had a little bit of an injury that
So
made me
then
lose a lot of
she-
shit, a lot of
She
memories.
just moved then. So your mom just moved then when you were 8.
Yes, I lived in Reading. I remember that when I was younger.
Okay.
I lived in Reading. Had a girlfriend named Pudgy,
When you were like 4 or
like 6.
Um,
You know.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
by the way, she was black.
Were you born in
Her
Turlock?
dad whipped the shit out of me because we were playing doctor. But anyway, I remember that like it was yesterday. Well, I mean, we weren't doing anything stupid. I mean, we were just, like sitting next to each other too close or whatever, and her dad kicked the shit out of me, and I was like, yeah, okay.
6 years old.
Yeah, yep.
So were you born in Turlock?
Modesto.
Okay.
Well, that's what my birth certificate says anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was probably born on the side of the road somewhere.
Right.
Um,
I'm lucky
Back-
I'm lucky my name wasn't Moonflower or something. I was born in the 70s, guys. Relax.
The back of an old Cadillac.
yeah. So yeah. So we left off a little bit, or we left a little bit of time there. But so you were talking about that happened. That started happening when you were like 14.
What?
So like the 2 hours a day.
Yes. Yeah, it's 12.
12.
Yeah, 12. Driving 14.
Huh?
I was
Yeah.
driving my
Oh,
uncle.
okay. Yeah.
I was driving my
12,
uncle
yeah.
Glenn around when I was 12 years old out in the country with his 6-pack of buckskins, Coors in the
Yeah.
in the center, just sitting right in the middle of the seat. He had an old Mazda, which was basically a Ford Ranger. It was the exact same truck, just had a Mazda logo on it.
Oh, that's the one that
He
in
did-
its entire life.
Never had an oil change.
No way.
Its entire life.
No way.
He didn't open the hood for anything. No air
Never
filter,
water.
nothing,
How
nothing.
long did that truck live?
That's kind of crazy. Just that expression.
Well, I mean, it was old when I was driving it. I mean, it was probably like a 78 or 82 when I was 82. No, I think it was an 84. I think it was an 84.
Did it shift hard?
Nope. It was a 5-speed manual.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think that thing ever got over like 30 miles an hour either. I mean, dude, other than when I was driving it. Once I actually learned how to drive, and he's like, "Hey, run over and grab the thing." Oh, shit. All right.
So I actually,
Yeah, I was dumping the clutch in that thing, and
so I was actually being taught how to drive manual in one of those. Remember out at Mike's place?
Yeah,
And
Fidenzio's
my
truck
dad,
or
yeah,
whatever?
Fidenzio's truck. My dad's buddy had this big old lifted Dodge, and I put that Nissan underneath that big old lifted Dodge. Yeah. I was like 13, I think, and my best friend's dad was teaching me how to drive stick shift, and he left it in gear. So when I turned it on, no foot on the clutch, it just freaking right underneath my dad's buddy's lifted truck, dude.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions on what we have so far?
Not really, no.
No. Okay. So, so what was? So I don't know if it was your first car, but you've definitely had some amazing cars.
I've had too many cars, more than anybody should ever have in the span
Not
of
because
like.
you got in a bunch of car accidents, Johnny. Keep quiet.
Not
about
like
it.
that guy.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, what are the top 3 of your cars that you've obtained over the years?
My first truck, it was a truck. My first vehicle was a 64 Chevy Stepside.
Banger.
And I bought it from my dad's buddy for $950. I worked my ass off in the fields,
How much
saving
were you
money.
getting paid then?
Huh?
In the fields, how much were you getting?
Like
$20 a
12
week?
cents an hour or something like that.
I mean, it was my dad and my uncle, man. I was hauling loads of produce of the Bay Area for $10 a day.
I was working as a family
Yeah,
relative.
yeah. I was talking about slave labor. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick. We appreciate you, brother.
Oh,
We
fuck.
appreciate you, brother.
right. Right. No, I mean, it took me. So I bought the truck when I was 15. Didn't
Bought
even
the
have my
truck when you were
license.
15.
Yeah, I bought the truck when I was 15. I don't remember exactly 15 and 3 months or any of
How
that
much
crap.
did you save
but
up before then?
I think I had like 1,400 saved or 1,500 bucks saved, and I bought the truck for $950 and just instantly started working on it, tearing it down to the frame. I had no idea how to work on anything because my dad didn't know shit about cars.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
dad,
they never changed the oil on anything.
dude. But
That's
going
a
back,
telltale.
going back to that truck, I want to say that truck had like 300 and something thousand miles on it,
Yeah.
Holy cow.
and
That's
never
insane
had the
for
oil
no-
changed.
No oil change.
Nothing
That just
ever.
inspires me.
Dude, Ford Ranger, right? It was literally a Ford Ranger. It's the same truck. There was a Ford Ranger. I remember my uncle Jim at. Excuse me. I had to burp. Sorry, folks. It was my uncle had a white Ford Ranger that I think was like roughly the same year, and then my uncle Jim did, and then Uncle Glenn had that Mazda. It was like brown. The same truck. Everything was exactly the same. They were both regular cab, little dinky mini truck type things, you know.
Nissan used to make the same truck too.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
those trucks
Pretty
back in the
close,
day.
yeah.
The Rangers, the Mazdas, and the Nissans.
But I
they were
think
all
that,
the same.
I think at some point, and don't quote me on it, but I believe that Mazda and Ford were the same. I think Ford owned Mazda or something like that at that time. Like some weird.
So I do this every time anybody on here tries
Fact
to
check me.
tell a fact. Fact check it, people. Fact check it.
check me on that.
Let us
'cause
know.
I don't know that. Like I said, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that they were like Ford and Mazda were the same company for a minute.
Yeah.
At some point, and but anyway, the trucks were identical. And my uncle Jim, his truck, the Ford, that thing lasted forever. He had a ranch, right? And I mean, I don't even know if he washed that thing. You know, and it's just like the thing lasted forever.
I want to
And
say.
I think he gave it to one of his grandkids or something. So those Ford Rangers are just
Yeah.
those old school Mazdas and Ford Rangers. Those things last for. If I could find one right now, I would just totally rebuild the whole thing from scratch. Just frame up, you know, and just make it a brand new looking truck or whatever.
so
and then
I
just
think you
drive the
gave me-
shit out of it. You know.
I think you gave me an exact figure one time. You said about 360,000 miles on that thing.
I think you might be talking about my Honda.
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah, you've had a lot of cars.
Yeah, well, I used to commute to the Bay Area forever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
So
I started commuting when I was 18 as an electrician,
all right, so there is
making $13 an hour. Boy, that was fun.
That reminds me.
So there is one story like that I remember you telling me. I was like a freshman in high school. All my friends were over. We were all playing not beer pong.
No, we were not.
Not playing beer pong.
Of course not.
And you were telling us this story about one of your country boy friends whenever you moved back to Turlock. You got into high school, and he put you in the truck one day, and you guys drove to Gilroy to find the dudes that terrorized you. I want to hear that story.
We want to hear that
Yes.
story.
That story.
There was more than one of us, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just him. His name was Joseph, right? The other one was Donald. So we all three actually jumped in my truck,
Okay.
but in high school, I mean, I was like 16. Yeah, I was 16 when this happened. We jumped in my truck because there was like a country bar over there that you could get into if you weren't 18 and all that shit, you know, in Gilroy, and it was awesome because you know you could go meet girls or whatever, right?
Yep.
And so I told him we were going to go do that. Well, then Josh, it was not Joseph, it was Josh. Josh, he's like, hey, show us your old apartment or whatever. And I'm like, because they knew I grew up over there or whatever. I'm like, you really want to go over into the hood right now? You know, in my truck. Going back to the truck, though, let's start back with that. When I said I had a 64 Chevy Stepside, though, my friend Chris, who was my best friend in high school, he went to the Army awesome dude. Haven't talked to him since. It's kind of sucks. You know, I'd love to reunite with him one of these days. That'd be great. Great dude, right? His dad was a quarter-mile race car driver, and so him and his dad helped me build that truck, basically.
From scratch?
No. So we ended up getting a motor for it out of a 73 Camaro, which turned out to be an LT1 Vet 350.
Jeez.
It was the same. It was the same block, right? So
For what car?
For my 64.
Okay.
Right. So we dropped that motor in there. That it was a totaled 73 Camaro. This thing was just in a field, piece of crap, but it had a great block and everything still, right? I ended up finding headers for it for like $60 or whatever it was.
gosh.
Yeah. Ordered. This is back when you had to read through it.
Souping up the Mazda.
You had to read through a magazine, you know, back in those days to find, you know, Edelbrock and all that kind of shit, you know. So I ended up they helped me rebuild the motor basically. So I mean, I was an ROP auto for like all 4 years of high school anyway. So I was learning things, right? Yeah. So we totally rebuilt that whole engine first, and then boarded out 30 over, I believe. It was like bored out 30 over. But his dad basically was Chris's dad was the
architect,
the brains behind the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you should get this and you should get that, and so on and so forth. And we beefed up the rear end and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, this engine, I mean, that truck would go 0 to 50. We put a Muncie 4-speed in it, so that truck would go 0 to 55 by the time you smash that pedal to the floor. That thing did not burn out. It would just. I used to slam my friends' heads because it had a little tiny window in the back. You know, like I think they were maybe 2 feet long, maybe 12 inches tall. These little windows, you know, and it had the wraparound cab, and it was all metal, right?
Yeah.
And my friends would be sitting over in the passenger seat, and I would just go whop, and it would just bong, just bounce their head off the freaking metal, you know. But
and
so
tires back then were also like $60, so you'd have been all right.
You could just burn out.
and back then it's funny. I had these Mickey Thompson racing tires on that truck, and it was awesome, dude. Mickey Thompson not only made badass off-road tires, but they made basically slicks that were street tires. You know,
racing tires for what? A Mazda what?
I think they were. No, it wasn't. This is my '64 Chevy Stepside.
Oh,
yes.
Stepside.
Yeah. So I put the tires on there, and I think at the time they were like $400, $380 or something for a new set of tires.
All four? Yeah.
All four tires. Yeah. Well, the fronts were only like 8s or whatever, so they were like this big, but the backs were 12s.
Yeah.
So they were like that. You know. But that truck was super fun, super dangerous. I drove the shit out of that truck. So did Chris. We got pulled over going 130 on Folkerth.
Oh my god!
You pulled over?
I wasn't driving. Chris was.
You pulled over?
Yes. Because that's a whole nother story, though. Like, I'm telling you. So this
All right,
truck.
hold on. Let me pause you here. Buddy's about to piss his pants. So
Who?
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got to hit the toilet. See, I'm like a camel. I'm ready.
All right, we're back.
Okay, so where was I? I was talking about the 64, right?
yeah, we're talking about your Mickey
so
Thompsons.
We built the shit out of that truck. I mean, it was awesome. High-res Edelbrock intake, 750 double pumper carburetor. The thing got like 6 miles per gallon, if that. You know, it would cost me $15 to drive to Gilroy and $15 back because it only had like a freaking 14-gallon tank behind the seat or whatever, you know.
No, buddy. $15 to fill up a 14-gallon.
Well, gas was 73 cents a gallon back then.
Yeah.
What a dream.
Yeah. Buddy was making $13 an hour, so that's
No. I wasn't making $13 an hour then. I was 16. I was making like $40 a week from my dad and my uncle.
Dude, I'm happy
I didn't get paid for yard work. You know what my payment was? A roof. You know, a bed to sleep in. You know what I mean?
So they're not even giving you gas money or nothing.
Oh, no. I
Working
used
for
their
it.
trucks.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
use my own
Oh,
truck to
yeah,
go
I
to the
was gonna
bay.
say.
No. Well, I couldn't fit anything in that thing anyway.
Oh, you said Gilroy. I'm sorry. Yeah,
It was
I
a-
misheard that. So
No,
$15 to get to Gilroy, $15 back,
Yeah, so if I wanted to go, I guess, visit my mom.
or to that
Not
country
really.
bar.
It was the country bar. Because we haven't dove into the whole why I moved with my dad or anything yet, which I'm sure you'll.
Oh,
you know.
if you want to go there, go for it.
No, I mean we've been sidetracking, going crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
But Mr.
We're-
Excitement over here, right here, the one without a mic and headset, he was super excited thinking I was talking about putting the LT1 Vet 350 in a Mazda.
About that.
No, but it's funny that he's so excited about it because I actually had a buddy that had a Chevy Love, which you'd have to Google that. To even
Yeah, I
know
don't know what that is.
I probably would. Yeah.
It's like the size of a Ford Ranger,
Okay.
you know, and like an old school Ford Ranger, square body kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, he put a 283 Chevy motor in that thing, and it basically is a small block V8, and pumped it all up, and the dude blew out rear ends on that thing like every other month or something. He'd go to take off. Yes, that's a Chevy Love.
This is the Chevy Love right
Oh,
here.
that's sick.
Just the fact
That is sweet, dude.
Yes, little tiny ass truck. I don't even know how you put that motor in there, to be honest with you. But he
I
could.
was gonna ask how big of.
like on.
Yeah, dude. No, his did not look like that. His was primered and.
Yeah. I was gonna
dense.
ask. I was gonna ask how big of a struggle it was to get that motor in your truck.
How long
Like,
did
It was easy.
It had enough room. You were
Yeah,
good?
because there was already a V8 in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you were-
fortunately, yeah, that truck factory.
Unfortunately.
No, fortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, that truck from the factory had an inline 6-cylinder.
Do we need to kick you out?
No, he's excited.
You need to go hang out with the kids.
I will if I need to, right?
Well, he's got that old school vibe about him, young kid, but you like this, you have the same type of you guys
don't
miss
have to
out
be
on
nice,
so
man.
much. No, you guys have missed out on so much in this day and age. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Before cell phones and pagers and all that shit.
Pagers? What is a page? No, I'm just
Right? I know. I had a cool one. It was like neon red, you know what I mean? Yeah. No, but you guys, it was a different way of life, even though my childhood was rough, as you said earlier, right?
Well, I didn't want to be an asshole. And
No,
say
you
had a
could say-
miserable childhood.
No, my see, we would just keep going. There's so many thoughts in here,
Yeah.
I had a rough childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it wasn't rough, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't all the weird shit that's going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, we had wars and all that kind of stuff, like I wanted to go to the army to get the hell out of Turlock because I had no life for me, no future in a sense, if you think about it. I wanted to go to the army. You were born. Wasn't going to happen, you know what I mean? Because I was a dumbass in high school, two
Yeah.
kids.
Thankfully.
Always wear a rubber, people. Strap it up.
Yeah, but back then they were like gloves. It's like, nah, who wants to wear that? But anyway, where were we? Talking about trucks and such. But I raced that truck all the time. It was so much fun. I had a buddy named Greg Dickey
Did you,
his dad owned Dickey Petroleum, and he was actually sponsored by Mickey Thompson, and he was sponsored by a transmission shop and all that. He had a badass 67 Firebird. That thing was just phenomenal. Beautiful paint job. Full roll cage built inside. his car was so sweet, dude. And he'll never admit it, But I smoked his ass in my 64, and I'm looking right at the camera when I say that, Greg. You know I did. You'll never admit it. I blew your doors off, bud. But anyway, that was like the best race ever. He turned around and went home.
Ask your question.
Nope, sorry.
Now, I was going to say, how much money did you think that you put into that build?
The 64?
It was like $8 back then.
Okay.
I mean, so the carburetor, I mean, if I had to figure it, I don't know. So every time I got paid by my uncle or my dad.
$40.
Yeah, $40 or whatever. Or if I would do like side jobs in a sense, you know, I would go help my buddy's dad or whatever do lawns and shit like that, you know, for $10 or whatever, you know,
Whatever
yard
they
work for 6 days and make $40 or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember buying stuff for that truck, and I mean, maybe if you count the cost of the truck and all the build and everything, I mean, I did all the work myself with Chris and his dad. Maybe $3,000 into that truck.
God, dude.
What a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was a dumbass, and my dad's other buddy had a RX-7. And
Oh, Mazda.
Yeah. But that's back when they had the rotary engines in them, right? And I stopped working for my dad and my uncle at the time,
Fast and Furious.
Unfortunately,
but I
right?
was still hauling produce for them. But I started doing other things for other people, building Christmas tree stands and shit like that, you know, welding stuff and what have you. And so I was tired of the shitty gas mileage because gas went up to like $1.60 or something like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
no.
Deal
But
with
dude,
this.
I mean, you're only making $40 a week, and you're spending, you know, $15 every 5 days to fill up your truck. You know, you're like, oh shit, you know, it's damn near half your income. You know, so he's like, I'd love to have that truck or whatever, and this and that. So he gave me like $500 and the RX-7.
And dude, so
Right.
so Fast and Furious wasn't even out yet.
No.
And like we all remember the Dom
'Cause this is
Toretto RX-7
Yeah.
in the first movie. Like that thing was badass.
That's what
It's
you got.
that is not the body style you're thinking of.
Yeah,
It's the one before that
that's
one.
what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, the one Dom Toretto had that you're thinking of is not a rotary engine.
Okay.
That's like a V6 or some shit, I think, in those. Fact check me real quick on Google. But I'm pretty sure that like the 2001 or whatever,
MX-7, right?
the RX-7.
RX-7.
Yeah, the
RX-7.
2001 RX-7 I think is what Dom Toretto had in
Yeah.
that car or in that movie.
Because it came out in 2002, I believe.
Yeah,
Fast
so
and
that was like a
Furious.
2001
Tokyo
or
Drift, right?
No.
no, the first Fast and the Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, so that car I think was a 2001 or 2002 RX-7, and I believe they had a V6 in them, or an inline six with a turbo or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Well, he had NOS and shit, but yeah.
Yeah.
we don't have-
But the rotary engine is like it's an airplane motor,
No.
so it spins.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like so they're like triangular veins inside of the block, right? And so at each point you have your spark plugs like this, right? Like in a Y shape, right? And as this triangle compresses through the motor, and fact check me on this too, but it compresses through and the spark fires, but there's no moving pistons like that,
Okay.
right? So going back to getting that car, my dad drove that car because I was in his truck hauling produce for his ass, and he's in that car and the motor blew up. Oh. Right?
That also happened.
2 weeks after I owned the thing.
Oh my
No.
god.
Yeah, right?
no.
Right? So my dad was an asshole.
Mine too.
100%.
Mine too.
You're gonna pay for it for yourself.
100%. My dad was he was a mean son of a bitch, right? We haven't dove into that at all, but I mean, I could tell you all kinds of stuff about that. And then looking back now, was he, you know, we can dive into that maybe some other time or something if you guys
Yeah.
want. But he felt bad about even like almost convincing me to get that car and give that guy my truck, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he was looking out for me. Maybe he was like, my son's gonna kill himself in that truck because
Maybe. Probably not.
he had to hear me leaving the house. You know? It's like, wah, wah, you know, just flying. You know?
Later.
Yeah, as soon as I got done with the yard work, you know.
I'm good.
Maybe he was just looking out for me, you know, that kind of thing. But he took it to a place in Modesto called Mazda's Plus. He had it towed there, right? And it was $1,700 to have an engine put in that thing at the time. I remember this specifically, right? But the guy that built the engine for it said that it will no longer have a rev limiter. He's like, it's an airplane engine, dude. So that tack on the dash went to 9,000 RPMs, right? So you'd hit that and then floor it.
Jesus.
I'd go like 65 miles an hour in first gear.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
You get to 9.
I mean, it was just
9,000 RPM.
screaming.
9,000
Dude.
RPM and then it shifts.
Dude, I got to LA in 2 hours and 45 minutes one time.
That's insane. Off the box.
I was going like 160 down the freeway, dude, on I-5.
God.
I don't even know how I'm alive, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, you know,
And you
That's
have,
just one
you have
I die, you're not here. I mean, no podcast. I'm just saying.
So you
I did some
and you
stupid.
weren't even in like car accidents in those.
I was in 2 accidents in my life, and it was not because I was driving fast.
Well, we talked about incidents. Or
3 car accidents,
So
actually. 3.
what were your accidents?
For as far as
Motor
You
vehicle?
just sit in the corner and shut your mouth.
My bad. My
You're here
bad.
to listen.
we need to get the interviewer a mic here.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Yeah, the fourth mic is incoming.
Yes.
Um,
If you guys need me to buy you a mic,
Go
just
ahead.
let me know. You know what I mean? I got you.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's finish that story. You
Yes.
were talking about your buddy Josh, and another one of your buddies. You guys were going to Gilroy.
We have
We-
veered off
Yes,
so many different
yes,
paths.
we have. Yes.
give me one of them.
We have.
That's what I was trying to.
The 3 of us. Yes, yes.
That's what I
The
was
one
trying to
of us.
explain to Andrew before. I was like, "Hey, are you sure you want me to do this? Because I mean, you guys are trying to
Oh,
pack 40-something years of."
Andrew told me. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Andrew told me that like we've got years.
Like I said, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Got a couple
Andrew
podcasts
started.
worth of information.
Buddy,
We're gonna kick you out of here.
relax, bro.
Andrew started this out by saying that I'm getting into politics or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So we gotta be real
yeah.
careful with what you know. No, I'm kidding.
Let me give a little bit on that. I don't want you to go deep dive into it, but you have been asked to get into local city podcasts. We don't have
Podcast?
podcast. Yeah,
City
you know what I
council.
mean. City
Yes,
council.
yes.
Yeah.
by multiple people
Yeah.
that are within the
So,
city.
yeah, but
that
that's
are
why
inside the city themselves, not the residents in the city, but people that work for the city.
yeah.
Also, the postal folks want me to run for city council because they're tired of seeing what's happening to our small town.
Yeah. So
Every time I go to Houston, because Joey's dad and stepmom live in Houston, every time I go, there's new houses.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because we don't have the infrastructure to support all that. Exactly.
And not only that,
And-
but like it's taken away from our farmland too.
100%. So this last development that they ripped out, I think it was like a 70-acre plot of land.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That, you know, I mean,
70
granted,
acres?
Granted, I mean, I don't blame the farmer, you know. Maybe he was just trying to get out of California because there's a lot of people that are getting out of California because
Yeah.
of just the policies and so on and so forth, whether they, you know, they disagree with, you know, and they just, they're like, you know, I've been here my whole life and, you know, built up this land and did whatever they did. And then now all of a sudden they're like, we're getting taxed to death. We're getting
Depreciating.
no depreciation.
No?
No, because you know, 10 years ago their land was worth, you know, say $1 million.
Now it's worth.
Now they sold it for 20.
Yeah.
Can you blame
no
them?
depreciation.
Moved to
Yeah.
another state.
So we didn't. So that's what I was trying to say though, is we don't have to go there yet. But you did say, like, you know, you're making a
don't-
little bit of jokes about
Yeah.
like saying no to certain questions and stuff. So that's why I said,
I'm fine. I don't care. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's just say hypothetically, I don't want to be in politics.
yeah,
Not hypothetically. I don't want to be in politics.
Yeah.
But there comes a point for everyone. It's like almost like your breaking point in a sense, where you feel like you need to do something,
Yeah.
right? And I wish I wouldn't. I wish I could have seen this before 46 years old. You know, granted, I'm not old compared to a lot of our Congress folks. That's for damn sure.
or our
Yeah.
president. So you know,
Any of them. I don't care which
Yeah.
one you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I don't think that these 87-year-old politicians need to be sitting in there making decisions for people that are your guys' age.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for damn sure.
Yeah.
Because they don't have your same values, don't see where, you know, don't they have no idea where you're coming from.
or calling us morons.
yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
stupid. You know, 18 to 23, they're
Can't make a
stupid.
decision for
Yeah,
yourself.
no, I get it. I get it. But I don't care. If somebody looks and says, "Oh, he got in a fist fight with somebody, he's not fit for office," that's just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
If you haven't had to deal with confrontation in your life, you have no business being in a position of power that is going to bring confrontation to you every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
100%. Because like I said, I'm not a violent person, but I will never back down from anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to defend myself 100%.
Whether it be words or
Yeah, I'm not just going to start
physical
swinging on
violence,
somebody for no
yeah.
reason, but if they start attacking me, then absolutely I'm going to fight back. But words, I mean, words can be powerful as well.
Yeah.
You know, you have somebody attacking you, whether it be, you know, your physical appearance, talking about your IQ, etc.
Yep.
I mean, I'm no scholar, but I mean, I put myself through college at 27 years old, right? I don't know if you guys know that or not, but well, you do.
Yeah.
But
obviously.
you know, I only did 2 years because I've realized how worthless it was for my life. I got my associates in business or whatever, but that's it. You know, I guess it worked somewhat as a contractor, but it didn't really do much for me. I don't want to sound like Charlie Kirk or whatever, but I think college is kind of worthless other than if you have a direction that you are going that you have to
Specifically.
if you're taking a specific course or something that will teach you the ins and outs of whatever field you're trying to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't have to spend $50,000 your first year of college or whatever. Hypothetically, I don't know what
figure it out.
No, the numbers. What I mean by that, I agree with that to
Yeah.
figure it out. However, your basic courses that you have to take in
Yeah.
order to be able to select your major and all that shit.
Yeah.
I think I did University of Phoenix online, right? Because I still had to work
Yeah.
Yeah.
or whatever, you know, live life. But I think I spent like $17,000 taking math classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
That you won't use.
Yeah, English, you know, critical theory, which I got into with my instructor on that too. I don't even know how I got an A, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about gas prices and this and that and so on and so on. I'm like, everything's driven by oil. She didn't agree with me. I'm like, everything is driven by the cost of oil.
yeah.
Everything's driven by the cost of fuel. Everything.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden it's $7 a gallon for diesel, do you think the truck drivers are going to eat that and only make, you know, $600 to haul a load instead of their normal $1,200? No, they're not. Shit rolls downhill. It gets passed down to everybody.
Yeah.
So the end result is the consumer gets the tail end of everything. So, I mean,
Consumer gets fucked, basically.
yes, absolutely. Are we running out of time or something?
No, I was looking at the time because you made a great point like 5 minutes ago that, yeah.
It may
I
be-
just,
it may
I
need to
have
be
it. I
more
have
than
it.
one.
Yeah, no. I just have it in my mind for, you know,
Clipping.
yes.
Going back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to continue? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Keep talking. Yeah, we're good.
So,
There's no time
Told you
limit. We're
stop.
good.
So, about getting into politics, I do not want to. I kind of feel like it's necessary, though.
Yeah.
They've built so many subdivisions in my tiny-ass town that, it started out, that town, I think, when I moved there 15 years ago.
4,800 people. I
Yes.
remember the sign.
Exactly, right? And now there's a couple people in particular on the city council, and I don't care if they hear the podcast, you hear me. You guys are destroying our community. We don't have the infrastructure for it. We have, 3 Mexican restaurants,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
One of them's like a
Coco's,
one of them's like
Agave,
a
yeah.
corner diner type thing, you know what I mean? Like a corner.
Are you counting La Perla?
Corner store
in
restaurant.
that?
No, it used to be a Husky Burger back in the day because it's the Houston Huskies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be
Well,
Husky Burger.
Yeah, they got rid of that? I didn't even
Yeah,
know.
now it's like a little tiny little drive-in with 3 parking spot Mexican joint to pick up food to go, basically,
Yeah.
right? So, what I mean by we don't have the infrastructure for that is we don't have the pump systems in place for it. The water within the town now, the pressure is next to a joke. I can't imagine what other people in their houses have to deal with because I have high flow system, right? And mine, I'll have my hot water running. I think I told you this earlier.
Yeah.
I have my hot water running, and I'll turn my cold water on, and there is zero change in pressure. Just zero change in pressure.
Yeah. This guy over here. Stop putting a lid on it, bro. Just leave the lid off.
Not bad.
It's funny, you guys are all related. I guess we are too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in a sense, But it's we don't have. When I say we don't have the infrastructure, we just don't have the restaurants. We don't have a grocery store, which is what one particular city council member is pushing for, because apparently driving 5 minutes west of Houston to, I don't know, Save Mart or Walmart Supercenter.
We have a grocery outlet in Ceres now as well.
Yeah, grocery outlet, bargain market, right? Apparently she doesn't want to drive there
Yeah.
to get groceries. She wants to try to somehow, if we get to 10,000 homes in the community, all of a sudden we have the potential to have a grocery store.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Potential, though.
That is a problem. And I'm not gonna go into detail on my arguments on that. I'm not gonna go into detail on my arguments on that because I hope to have those face to face with one of them one of these days, and hopefully open their eyes a little bit.
So let me just answer him though. If it's potential, it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, a potential grocery store. If you have 10,000 people, you're gonna want a grocery store.
Real quick.
Especially if you're involved in the grocery store.
These vape
Just
pens are
from an
horrible for you.
outside-
Don't do them. But they taste
from a-
like candy.
Just from an outside perspective.
Whose is this?
That's why they're banned. It's
Is
a
it yours?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Just from an outside perspective, why would the grocery store be an effect to the town?
you have to have a certain amount of people to have one.
So you have to.
You have to have 10,000 homes in the
But if
community.
they reach that 10,000 homes,
So the
Then
thing
they need
is
one.
there's not the infrastructure for the 10,000 homes. So you have to supply an infrastructure for the 10,000 homes, and then on top of that, you now have to supply infrastructure for the grocery store or for the
is that
supermarket.
what the problem is?
there's many angles to that. Like I said, I've been in construction my entire life, basically, right? Other than being a farm labor hand, right?
Yeah. We're not counting before 18.
Before 18, yeah. So
After 18.
after 17, I'll tell you, the construction aspect of all this stuff is that, you know, the type of work that he and I do now, you know, we have to know GPM, which is gallons per minute for those of you who don't know, from pump systems and so on and so forth. You
do. No.
Yeah. You have to have the wells, you know. I mean, it's just your water source, power generation. I mean, what do you think it would take to put a Walmart or a Save Mart
into
and think about that for a minute? What grocery store is going to come to Houston? Is it going to be a Rayleigh's, a Safeway?
It's not going to be something big
A
because
Walgreens?
the profit margin.
That's not a grocery store though. Walgreens is not a grocery store. That's more of a
It's
pharmacy.
a pharmacy, yeah.
But we already have a small pharmacy there called Carranza. Shout out to Carranza. They're a great pharmacy. You know, even being with, say, Kaiser or whatever, you can call in a prescription from Kaiser. Your doctor at Kaiser can call in a prescription to Carranza, and you can go pick it up there.
And they so sorry, but they have been in business since we moved there.
20 plus years.
Like, yeah. Since before we moved there, and people in Houston, specifically whenever they call to get a prescription, like, you know, say basic cold, flu, whatever, they will actually choose Carranza instead of driving, because it's 12 minutes to the Walgreens from Houston. So it's
rather call it in there than
because
have to go drive.
that
because
is
you're
a
5 minutes
local
away.
business.
Yeah.
And
then-
also, how is... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then on top of that, you put that place in there. Now you're pushing that homegrown
You push
business.
that business out.
Yeah,
100%.
and now you're
Also-
taking away from your community
Also, La Perla.
by trying to go corporate.
Yes, La Perla. For those who may listen to this in another state or country, whatever it may be, La Perla Tapatia is a Mexican store, and they have a couple of locations in our area. 3, I believe. One out on Crow's Landing
They have
area,
one on
one
Hatch
here on
as
Hatch,
well.
and then one in Houston, right?
I think there's one.
What
in
does that do
Riverbank,
to their
too.
business?
I
What
think
is that?
There's one at Riverbank too.
Yes.
If you
yes.
haven't actually, like, so, and for people that don't
That's
know
a small,
exactly what
tiny
it is,
grocery store.
Yeah,
But they have all
yeah,
kinds
have-
of different
they
stuff
have
there. Mexican food and
produce.
Yeah, they have the
Yeah,
little
absolutely.
Yeah.
they have the little restaurant in there too where you can go buy burritos.
yeah,
and all
burritos,
that stuff.
tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. You can buy full
The little
meals
cantina,
that'll
right?
feed 10 people. You
Yeah.
know, and the carne asada. You know, you can do
Tamales.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I mean? It's great. And the thing is, all of a sudden you push them out. Why? So
Yeah, with a grocery store, with a deli,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
But here's another aspect. See, I don't want to go into detail on this because I want to save it for the city council.
Yeah.
I want them to hear from me so that I can hear what they have to say back.
Yeah.
I want them
Withhold
to
it
be
if you
able.
want
And you don't. Yeah, you don't have to go into anything you don't
Yeah,
want
so
to.
I don't want to go into serious detail about it. But like I said, that's just a small aspect of it. Think about the power that a grocery store would need. Can TID even support that out there?
Yeah.
Or is it going to cost our city or the
X
grocery
amount of
store
dollars.
most likely? The grocery store that might come in there, are they going to go, oh, shit, you guys have to run all new lines
We don't want
to the town
Yeah.
so that you can support it? How much is that? I don't know, 7 or 8 million. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's a long run, man. I mean, you're talking 50 miles of poles and lines, and then I don't know, maybe eminent domain onto people's property
Yep.
Yeah.
to put.
Then you have to pay them
huge
as
steel
well.
poles in because
And not only are you paying them, but then you're taking their land from them too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's for poles or underground. It's very small.
Yeah.
Very small portions, but like if you have a small piece of land, then it's
yeah.
you know
Then
that,
big deal.
that
exactly.
means
and
something.
there's a lot of small ranchers in Houston.
Yeah.
Small guys. And when I say small, I don't mean like 2 acres and shit like that.
yeah.
I mean small, like 17,
Yeah.
Yeah. 20,
10,
25, something like that.
12, you
Yeah.
know, like, I mean, there's a lot of small ranchers, you know,
Mhm.
and they try to do the best they can for their lives, you know, and a lot of them are retired.
Mhm.
They can afford to lose, you know, an acre.
Yeah.
That's one less head of cattle,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe two. What does that do to them?
Yeah.
So anyway, there's even way more detail that I can get into than that. I have it all structured,
I know you've been working on it.
written down. Not even working on it. It's just common sense shit that's in anybody that has any kind of capacity of knowing what something takes to get done as far as the construction industry goes. You can think of that, and I'm a people person, like I said before. You know, I want everybody to succeed and be
Yeah,
happy.
you haven't
Yeah.
stopped talking since we've been here. It's been an hour and 20. And no, and
I can't help you guys have shitty questions.
So let's go back to your childhood. We were diving in on that story of you going to Gilroy.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got a little
Back to
sidetracked from that.
this.
Let's go back to that story
Yes.
that Andrew wanted to hear of you going to Gilroy with your buddies.
Okay, so it was Josh's idea. He got me all fired up on the drive there. He's like, let's just go back there and see if we can find Ollie. That was like the
main
ringleader's name, you know. Let's go back there and see if we can find Ollie. And like, you really want to do this, dude? Like, I mean, they're gonna be
Pretty pissed off.
shit, probably 18 to 20 years old now, if I had to think about it. You know, I was like, most
So
likely
that was-
they don't live there,
Yeah.
right, anymore.
Hopefully.
So that was
Right.
that was
Everything
8
is-
years after you moved. So this was 16 years
I
old,
was
right?
16, so it was 6 years after I moved.
Oh yeah, you moved at 10. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So yeah, they were probably.
so anyway, we just decided to have a couple beers and show up there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was 16, drinking beer and driving.
And driving.
Yeah. Statutory limitations, right?
Yeah, yeah. You don't do that
Or not,
anymore.
wait, is that statutory? No, I'm sorry. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Can't get after me for that. I don't drink and drive. I got an Uber picking me up from here.
Yeah.
No, I'll just get a ride home from your wife.
Mhm.
But anyway, so it was kind of. I want to say it was like a blur, but it wasn't. I can pretty much remember every detail. So we knocked on Ollie's door, and he answered, and he looked at me, looked at Josh, and he says, "What the f do you? What do you crackers want or something? Some slur shit, right? What do you guys want?" And I'm all, "Ollie?" He's all, "Yeah, what's up?" You know? And Josh just smoked him through the door. Right through the screen door, dude. Just freaking bam. 'Cause, dude, Josh was like twice my size.
Jesus.
Just, dude, his guns on him like this, and he was probably 6'4" at the time. Holy
cow.
You know? And I'm
Right through the screen door.
5'11", you know, maybe. I mean, I kept growing after high school, trust me, folks. I was 160 pounds or was 65 pounds in high school. Now I'm 230. But anyway, dude, Josh just pummeled him through the screen door and then opened the screen door, grabbed him, drug him outside, and threw him in the bushes. Yes. And then all of a sudden, all these screams or whatever, the guy, like, he wasn't a little guy. And he screams, and I guess his brother or his cousin or whatever it was that was also one of the punks came out. And before Donald could get him, I got his ass, right? Because he spit in my face when I was a kid. They would hold me down and spit on me.
Fuck.
It was nasty
Yeah.
shit, dude, right? And I got him and just, dude,
Let loose.
yeah, it Donald pulled me off of him. I mean, I didn't lose my mind or anything. I wasn't
Yeah.
like going like put him in the hospital kind of thing, but I definitely pummeled his ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Beating the shit out of him.
but then when Donald pulled me off, there was like one of the neighbors was one of their friends or whatever, and he came charging at Donald and tackled Donald, and then Donald put him in a headlock and freaking just started rubbing his face in the ground. It was just all bam. Like, it was wild, dude. It was so wild. I remember I'm just like, what do I even do right now? Because Josh is kicking the shit out of Ollie, threw him in the bushes. This guy's on the ground holding his face, crying like a little bitch. You know, gangbanger stuff. You know what I mean? But I called him a bitch too, and I know what that means in prison. So yeah, that's what I called you. Anyway, he not that I've ever been to prison. I just know people.
Disclaimer.
Right. But I'm just like, what do I even do right now? Because Josh is just like, apologize. The guy probably didn't even know who I was. You know what I'm saying?
Apologize.
And it was just wild. And then we just like ran to my truck, jumped in, and just freaking just smoke showed out of the whole street, flying around the corner, just blowing through the stop sign. And I mean, Donald, I think, was the most excited one out of the whole thing, dude. He's just like, I can't believe it just happened. And, you know, he was like, it's amazing. He's like, let's go back. And I'm like, no, Donald, no, we're good.
One more time.
Yeah, he was just, it was wild, man. You know, I mean, we're lucky we didn't get shot or stabbed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was worse than before I left. You know what I mean? That place got even worse.
Oh man.
Oh, it was it was like I was pulling down the street. I'm going, dude. And my truck might get stolen by the time we get back to it. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the
It was the hood.
it was the hood. I mean, it was
Yeah.
hood. It was hood. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the life I grew up in too. But it wasn't as bad then as it was that at that moment.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, wild. But that was a pretty good story. I know.
Yeah.
And-
There's
and
one more.
There's all truth to that too, man. Did it sound the same?
Yeah, that story has not changed since I heard it 13 years ago now, my freshman year.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah, there's one more.
What?
One more childhood story that I want to hear.
Hmm.
And then we can, delve more into other stuff. But the one with the belt buckle. You swinging a belt buckle.
Oh my god!
Okay,
So-
this is gonna be a
yeah.
good one.
You
so
should
tune
ask
in.
your Aunt Jen about that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so you could tell it, but Aunt Jen was getting picked on.
No, that's not. No, she wasn't getting picked on because Aunt Jen used to beat guys up.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys have met my
Not
aunt.
because they
Yeah.
wouldn't
I don't
swing.
think I
Not
have.
because they wouldn't
Yeah.
swing back.
Yeah.
She just didn't give them a chance to.
My aunt
Dude.
my aunt Jen
Dude.
still to this day is a savage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
oh!
yeah.
You
What
should
is
see
his
some
story?
text messages
Because-
from this random person that my sister Kathy. I don't know. Do you guys know? I have two older sisters. They're half sisters, right? One of them, Kathy, just turned 66.
Mm.
And Val is 64.
Okay.
Right? And Kathy, I mean, you make jokes all the time that I'm 60 or I'm an old man now, but I am perfectly capable of getting around some, computers and shit, guys, But
That's not Adele?
right? Kathy texts my old cell phone number that I had, that 595 number from
God knows when.
Jesus, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
even know.
She still has it in her phone. So she's doing a group text with Marissa, Jen, me, and Kathy in it, right?
Yeah.
And she just we all text her something, and this person's like, this is months ago. This person's like, or no, last month. And this person's like, well, who the hell are you guys? And this and that. I didn't see the text because
Yeah,
I
'cause you
wasn't
weren't
in
in
it.
it.
It was my old
Yeah.
number, right? And but the person's like, who the hell are you guys? So Marissa shows me, right? She's showing me. She's like, yeah, this person's like, but they were hella cool about everything. No big deal. Just who the hell are you guys? Kathy sent a picture of me and my dad and my sister and all this shit. Yeah,
This is coming for you.
Well, I got a history lesson for you.
right? And the person was hella cool. Like everything was fine, right? And was like, oh, no big deal. You have the wrong number or whatever. And And then I think Marissa wrote back, oh, sorry, you know, my sister-in-law doesn't really know this and that, so on and so forth, right? And the person's like, oh, no big deal, all good, you know, whatever. So then, out of nowhere, like 3 days ago, this person starts texting
Like
some words we're not going to use on
harassing or
the
what?
yeah, out of nowhere to that group message again. Just like random out of nowhere.
Whoa.
Well, then my sister Jennifer sends them a picture of their house with a pin on it
Their house?
No.
with the 595 number.
Like come visit and you'll see.
Was
or
like
something.
beep, 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 beep. Click, sends it, goes, you have no idea who you're fucking with, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
She's all, I'm
don't
gonna
know if we-
fuck you up. And I'm like, oh my god.
I
My
don't-
sister's
I don't-
older than I am.
I don't know. If,
Like,
I don't know if
alright,
we
well.
can say that about Aunt Jen on the podcast because of her job and stuff.
She's such a
So,
good person.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, she's not like that. But like you mess with the family, she's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tear you up.
Hey, pull that door closed.
But yeah, it was kind of like, not saying that she was gonna go do anything.
Yeah.
It was just more or less like,
You don't know who you're messing with.
what are you doing? Why
Yeah.
why this? On Kathy's birthday,
Oh.
Kathy writes back, oh, it's my birthday. She's like, Kathy's actually 67. She's like, she's all, I'm 67 years old. It's my birthday today. I don't know why you're saying all this mean stuff. You know, my sister Kathy's from Oregon.
Yeah. Hippie.
Hippie.
Soft-hearted, right?
Hippies.
Hippie liberal. So
Would
great
hate
of a
this
lady.
podcast.
No, she's a great lady.
No, she would
Kathy is
listen, for
awesome. I mean, yeah, she's awesome. She would totally listen to the podcast, especially just to see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Oh, she
Course,
came.
yeah.
She came to the wedding, so you saw her.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also saw my cousin and his now wife. They just got married.
Yeah, Craig and Zoe.
Yeah,
Yes.
Craig and Zoe. They just got married. So we might be in Oregon now. I got to text them link to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Craig and Zoe, right? When I say liberal, yes, they are. Are they the crazy
Yeah.
side of liberal?
No.
They're just hippie.
They're hippie.
Yeah.
They're just hippie.
But you know
dude.
the greatest thing? They are great people.
They were the ones
They're
that
such
danced
good people,
to
man.
every
It's
single
like-
song at my wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were out there on the dance floor dancing the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. He had
Just
that funny
happy
looking
as
hat
hell.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So he's not the vagina hat liberal. He just had he had a fedora hat. You know what I mean? No, they are so. Dude, their wedding when Marissa and I went to their wedding. Was it last
Unfortunately, I couldn't go.
Was it last month?
No, it was 2 months ago.
2 months ago,
because
yeah,
it was the week that the baby was due.
Oh
Yeah,
my
not
god.
happening.
Or the
Right,
week,
yeah.
so the week before the baby was
Bad
due.
timing.
Okay.
Bad
And
timing.
I was like, she's not gonna go.
Yeah.
She's,
About to
about to
explode.
pop. Yeah. And I'm not gonna go because if I'm in Oregon,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
while
good
she's
luck.
trying to give birth, like it's not. Yeah, that
Not
would
happening.
not go well for me. So
would not have been good.
yeah, I was sad about the timing. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
It
Obviously.
was.
Of course
I
it's
actually
that way
have.
you couldn't
I
go.
actually have a bunch of video on my phone. I have the video. Like I videotaped the entire. I say videotaped. I recorded on my
Video-
electronic device because it's not a camcorder.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. No, so
no
so I
way.
recorded the entire thing. I'll show it to you. It's really cool. I mean, they had all of us in a big circle around them, and they were just like on a platform in front of us, and they both became ordained just to be able to marry themselves in a sense.
What?
Yeah, to each other. Yeah, and they're just they both had their own speeches and everything, and they just talked about like, I mean, he was talking about how Zoe, he was like, oh, let's just buy another washing machine or whatever,
Yeah.
and she's like, all of a sudden she drug the washing machine when he was at work or whatever, drug it outside and tore it apart and found like this little piece of metal or whatever, right? Stuck in there that caused it not to work, and put it all back together and drug it back in the house and plugged it back in and everything, right? Yeah. And he came home from work and the washing machine was running and he's like, what the hell is going, and she showed him the piece of metal or whatever, and he kept the piece of metal. And this is like
cool.
7-8 years ago or something, right?
That's
awesome.
6-7 years ago, something like that. So he kept that piece of metal forever, and he actually made it into like a necklace and shit for her.
That's fucking.
That's
And then he
awesome.
gave that to her at the wedding. So in the speech, that was his yeah, it was so cool, man.
that's
I mean,
dope.
the love between those two, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you could
Yeah.
just tell they're just,
made for each other.
dude, 100% made for each other.
It's like you and Garrett.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was so
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
all,
all right.
all their friends,
Sorry.
all their friends and stuff, really good people. I got to see my nephew Mitchell, who I'm gonna send him this podcast. Mitchell, I love you, man, and I'm sorry I wasn't the uncle that I should have been to you. You know what I'm saying?
Could have been.
I should have been. Not could have been. Should have been. I regret not being there for him. You had a shitty mother. We both agree on that.
How old is he now?
Shit. What's Mitchell? 30... 35? Maybe? 34? 35? Something like that. Yeah, no. Granted, he lived in another state.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's from
That-
Texas.
that's-
He still lives in Texas. I mean,
That is the reason I said could have been.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it wasn't by your choice.
No.
It was
No, but I could have reached out.
could
You
have.
know, so I think too many people find it easy just to pass up taking blame for shit.
Yeah.
I really do.
Accept
They just push it off to
responsibility, right?
they push it off to somebody else. Or just push it off like, oh, it wasn't my fault.
You're the type of person, Ted, to accept it, right?
100%.
Yeah.
If I'm at fault for something, I need to. My wife won't agree with that whatsoever.
But you feel.
If I make a mistake, I need to own up to that mistake.
Yeah.
It just needs to
100%.
happen. Like him, right? He was a mistake.
I was a mistake.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm just
man,
messing.
I knew-
I'm
I
just
knew-
messing.
no,
I'm
yeah,
messing.
dude.
I knew
Messing.
exactly
Totally
where
messing.
that was going.
But yeah, so just because he was from Texas or lives in Texas,
Yeah, he wasn't.
he lived with his dad. His dad died. Right? Had a horrible accident at work. He works for the airlines. Right? I'm not going to say which one. I don't need Mitch getting blown up or whatever. Right? But his dad was like the lead master mechanic for an airline company. Right? One of the big ones.
Yeah.
And he fell from the plane or something on the top when he was working on it or whatever in the rain, and he died.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Right? That is not. No, I almost started cussing bad. That is not the story that I heard from my sister, my half sister, one of the old ones, not Jennifer. Jennifer is 2 years older than I am. My sister Jennifer is 2 years older than I am. The older one,
She'll
Val.
never admit that. She's younger than him.
The older one, Val. The oldest one is Kathy. Val is the second to oldest sister, right? Val is Mitchell's mother. The story I heard was not even remotely close to that, and it had something along the lines to do with her trying to play victim. Let's just go there with it, right? That he was some sort of bad guy or some shit.
The father.
Yeah. So Mitchell and I were talking actually a lot at I didn't leave his side basically at the wedding,
Yeah.
right? And the day before the wedding, the rehearsal and everything. I was just like, he's got beautiful kids, child, he's got 2 kids, step, whatever.
Yeah.
He's got 2
they're
kids,
his
right? They're all
yeah.
kids, right? I mean, I have step kids, they're my kids. I don't give a shit, right? His beautiful wife, beautiful kids, great job, great life. He works for the airlines also. I just got to see his story. So I was intrigued the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to be around Craig, my other nephew, right, the one that got married.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to be around him the entire time.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw Craig, he's just like lit up, like he couldn't believe I was there. And I'm like, Craig, dude, I'm not broke anymore.
I'm making
Everybody's
more
like-
than $13.25.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's like, Marissa and Dad, why'd you guys fly to Oregon? It's only like 6 hours or whatever. I'm all, because fuck that.
We got it now.
Because they got
I'll
drinks
drive.
on the
I'll
plane.
drive. Yes, I'll drive 2 hours to the airport that way. Land in an hour and 10 minutes that way.
That
Drinking.
airport, by the way.
Drinking.
Get picked up with a luxury car when we get there if we need to. No big deal. And get dropped off at my sister's house.
Yeah.
That airport.
And then I
is
just
not
didn't
2
drive
hours
6.5 hours or whatever. You know.
Exact.
That airport
Yeah,
is
I
not
drank.
2 hours away.
I still haven't changed much of my driving habits as when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't drive 160.
Chase.
At
What?
you in the Prius, bro.
No, this guy on the back roads to the duck club.
I drive.
Just stay in the corner. There's no mic in front of you for a reason.
He's like, nobody
So
puts
this
Davey in the
this
corner.
is a good
where were we, though?
transition spot.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are about to go to bed.
Yeah.
I need to go say goodnight.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and
But
pause it.
where
here.
were we, though?
So we were.
And I got way off into like a wedding.
We were talking
and shit.
about.
We're getting ready for the belt buckle story.
Yeah, we were getting ready for the belt buckle.
Oh, the
story.
belt buckle story. Okay, yeah. That's
So I'm gonna go say goodnight to the kids. I don't know if you guys want to come or obviously I think you do.
yeah. We're gonna say night to my grandkids.
And we're back.
Again.
Yeah. The kids are in bed. We're chilling. The belt buckle story. Go ahead and put your chew in, but
I'm not gonna say what I chew unless they sponsor the podcast. I'd be more than happy.
I think they sell more than enough without adding our.
Well, but they would love to.
We
Sponsor
will get a Dr. Pepper sponsor
normal,
someday.
everyday Americans, doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
I hope you do get in politics. I'm gonna be corrupt as hell as I said. I'm gonna be Hunter Biden in this month.
Let me see your laptop.
You guys don't want to see my laptop? It might not turn on for 3 hours.
Now you look at my PC, it's every single file is just freaking podcast shit.
Yeah.
So,
Mine's work stuff.
so the belt buckle story. You said we had to have Jen tell it, but she's not here.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to tell it from your perspective.
So high school, there was Turlock High, right? There was factions, right? That's how it is, right? So you guys are a hell of a lot closer to high school than I am.
They're closer than I am too, by the way.
Right? So you figure if you have
He slid it under my feet.
what? What happened?
The empty freaking beer box. This drunk ass just slid it under my feet.
Me?
Well,
Me?
God, somebody's feeling it.
God
Well, I
damn.
get blamed for everything.
Anyways, good.
So
There was factions.
yeah, so you had the jocks, the gangbangers in a sense.
So it's
you
like
know,
high school in the movies.
pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, that's
'Cause-
how it was. I mean,
yeah.
you had the jocks that hung out all together. Then you had the gangbanger kind of guys, that hung out together. And you had like the cowboy type, country boy group, the FFA club type guys that hung out together, guys and gals, whatever. And then you had like the preppies or whatever,
Dude, all you're missing is greasers, and you have a movie there.
Yeah, so you had like the preppies, which, I mean, I guess the jocks and preppy kind of fell into the same category sometimes. It just depends on who you were talking to.
Yeah.
But, we're all in our own little groups in a sense, right? Well, something happened. I don't remember exactly, but something happened where one of the gangbanger dudes or whatever started talking crap or, trying to start fights or problems or whatever, this and that. Next thing you know, there's like 12 of them, right? And they're all up in shit. And then my sister's like, you guys just go away. I mean, granted, she's a couple years older than I am, so she was a senior and I was a sophomore or whatever. And she's like, just go away. Why are you guys starting shit? This and that, like, what's the problem? So on and so forth. What are we looking at?
What happened
Is there a
over
ghost in the corner or something?
Did you see the light change too?
No, I didn't see the light change.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, we're good.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Technical difficulties, folks. Sorry.
It wasn't very technical at all.
So, one dude started popping off to Jennifer and called her an effing bitch or whatever and so on and so forth. And I was like, no. It's my sister. Ain't happening, bud. So I started going after one dude. And next thing you know, there was like 6 or 8 of them trying to circle around me. And I just slid the belt and buckle off, rolled it up in my hand, had it about that long, and just started swinging on dudes. Of course, I had a belt buckle about that big, like that. You can eat off that thing. It was like a plate. And just started just freaking swinging. And and then the yard duty came over, Barbara. I'll never forget her name. She caught me chewing like 10 times probably, but she never actually caught me because I'd swallow it before she got over there. Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one time I had some. You guys don't even know this stuff, but there was something called Apple Jacks. It was like a Red Man, right? Sponsor Red Man. Well,
Oh my God.
you're not even allowed to say Red Man anymore. That's how fucked up our world is.
Yeah, it's not Red Man anymore.
I know I say F and this sometimes and stuff, but I do cuss, folks. That's how whacked our country is now. You can't say Red Man, or it's not allowed to be called Red Man anymore.
Yeah.
But now it's called America's Best or some shit like that. But it's
Yeah.
Red Man.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah, it's just repackaged.
same shit, right? Anyway, there was a kind called Apple Jacks, and if you put Apple Jacks and Copenhagen together, it was really good, right? So you had Apple Jacks in your cheek and Copenhagen in your lip, and it was really good. And then Barbara's like, hey, from across the parking lot to me one time, and by the time I was drinking a Dr. Pepper, and by the time she got there, I was like, oh, and just
Oh my
drank
God.
that whole thing down. Yep. And by the time I got to auto shop, I couldn't even see straight. Because it's not like I was a big chewer or something, it was just more or less here and there kind of thing, But anyway, yeah, so the belt buckle story, that was, that's kind of, it was pretty wild. I almost got kicked out of school for that one. I only hit like 3 people.
Only, huh?
Yeah. But it was enough to draw some blood, so I got booted out for 5 days. I didn't get expelled, fortunately, because the leader, I guess, of them and I talked it out or whatever kind of thing. She made it. She basically pinched both of our. You guys need to figure that shit out. We ain't having this at this school. Barbara was a huge bitch. She was a big woman, and when I say big, I mean she was. I want to say she was over 6 foot, and probably 3 bills. You know what I mean?
Oof.
And so
Big lady.
she is a big lady, and she'd kick the shit out of you.
Settle a lot of
I
peace.
guarantee she would. And she just basically got the principal involved and all this shit, and and they were just like, had us in the office, and their leader or whatever in a sense, and I'm like, hey, look, I was just defending my sister's honor, You know, back when things, you know, there was honor in this world, which there doesn't seem to be a whole hell of a lot now. But granted, I probably didn't be swinging a belt buckle at people looking back now. But, you know, at the time, it was just,
If there's 6 of them, I mean,
I'm not gonna get rumbled on again.
I'm kind of
After
embarrassed that you only hit 3
childhood,
of them.
after my well, that's all it took. You hit the third one, they all took off running, dude. It was done. After I hit the first one, the other 2 were like, ah! And I still hit them. But anyway, no. But you know, look, you know, the childhood that I lived, you know, it's kind of like you're.
Put it on mute.
It's on mine.
That was me. That was my watch.
Put it on mute.
Negative. I'm a guest.
Negative. I'm a guest.
How do you even do that? I'm kidding. Here, I silenced it. But, you know, the childhood I had, I wasn't about to get rolled up on again.
Yeah.
Right? I went after the one guy that made the comment
Mm-hmm.
and said he was going to kick her ass or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Guys jumped in.
well, it could be, okay, a guy told my sister and got in her face like he was going to kick her ass.
Yeah.
So I instantly charged him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not happening, right? Next thing I know, I'm pummeling his ass, and there's 6 people around me.
Yeah.
I got kicked in the face, kind of rolled out of it, came up, grabbed the belt buckle off as fast as I could, wrapped it in my hand, and started swinging and hitting people. And that's just how it went, right? I'm not gonna.
Reenacting their childhood.
Yeah, I am not gonna. I wasn't about to get stomped. My face wasn't gonna get stomped on the ground, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just wasn't gonna happen. After getting jumped every day of my life, and as an 8-year-old, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 to 10, not gonna happen.
Even that's crazy.
Yeah. 8 to 10 years old having to deal with that's nuts.
I mean,
And these guys had to be 12 to 14 when I was 8 and 10 years old. I mean, they were way bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like I just don't even understand the concept. You know, I couldn't imagine. But that turned me into being like a defender more than a.
Aggressive or
Aggressive.
anything, right?
Well, I've never been an aggressor, but it made me look out for people.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Especially people. So junior high in Turlock, there was a couple of special needs kids that people would sometimes pick on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There were in junior high we had what was called Homer's Hotel. Homer.
Yeah.
Homer.
Were you talking about that?
So Homer was like the yard duty guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was more like a counselor or whatever, maybe.
Okay.
But he had like in-house suspension in a sense, right? You didn't get suspended from school and get sent home.
Yeah.
You had to stay in school and be his slave. You go pick up trash in the yard and, you know,
Yeah.
do all your homework. Your teachers would send all your stuff with you, and you you were in like this mini cubicle. And you're facing the wall basically all day long doing your work, and then the only break you got was to go pick up trash after recess and stuff, you know what I mean? And pull weeds and whatever it may have been, you know. But let's just say I had my frequent flyer miles for Homer's Hotel, because in junior high I like I said, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I care about people's lives and their well-being, I would say, or whatever it may be, and especially if you're picking on somebody who's special needs or whatever, and when I say special needs, I'm talking as like even just having a speech impediment.
Yeah.
Right. I hit a guy with a basketball right in his face and knocked his tooth out in junior high. Because
He was making fun of.
it just shit happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big dude too, you know. But
Should've been tougher.
yeah, I was in Homer's Hotel at least every other week. It seemed like for a couple days, you know. But that's just how it was. I mean, don't pick on the little tiny guys, and don't pick on the special needs kids.
Yeah.
Period. And so, you know, I always thought I was going to be a cop, and I'm not. I thought I was going to be a defender of everybody, you know,
Yeah.
like a vigilante in a sense, you know, as a kid, you know, you're just like, oh, I'm going to be Superman, you know, or Batman or
Batman,
whatever.
yeah.
Just taking care of the people kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Don't get me wrong, I've had my ass kicked a few times. It just happens. I mean, you don't win every fight, that's for damn sure. I had somebody slam me on a damn table one time. I was like, I give up.
Oh yeah, there's another one. You just reminded me of that one.
Oh no, that was
so
like a ninja fight, dude.
Yeah, so you're
That was
talking
weird.
about like the karate match that you had in the cafeteria with the kid.
Yeah, because I thought I was a ninja.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You had like a what? Yeah, you had like a Matrix style fight with somebody.
It wasn't
Where
really
they-
Matrix at all, believe me, but it's kind of sounds like it. But yeah, no, in the cafeteria, I got slammed on the table pretty good. I mean, as I hit the table, though, I was able to kick him in the face, which worked out pretty good. But
In my favor.
it got broken up so fast, it was crazy. You know, so at that time, there was two twin brothers named Sam and Dan. They were probably, I don't know, like I said, I always hung out with people older than me.
What terrible parents. Sam and Dan.
Right?
Like, come on.
I know. But these guys were like,
Bullies.
no, they were not bullies. They were taught like martial arts their whole life, right?
Yeah.
And they used to teach me in the park, right? And I mean, they had me punching trees and shit like I was fucking Bruce Lee, dude. Like I'm going, wait.
Bruce Lee had just started making his rounds too.
I'm like,
He's
dude,
talking-
I'm all, my knuckles are jacked up, guys. Like, what is going on right now? It was so dumb. You know, I'm like some 13, 12-year-old kid, you know, whatever.
Oh god.
And I'm like kicking trees and like, what the hell?
Drinking
You know,
beer.
yeah, it's gonna develop your sensitivity or whatever. You know, it's like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah,
be
but
dialed.
he's Mike walking 7 miles uphill both ways to school with rocks in his backpack.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. They were badass. I was not. You know, I tried to learn. I mean, I did what I could, but anytime they would like spar with me or whatever, they'd kick the shit out of me. It was no problem, dude. I'm like, no big deal. Like, you know, Dan's all one time charge me, you know. So I charge him like trying to like flying punch his ass. And he just like moves to the side, grabs my arm, and just knees me right in the stomach. Just bam! And I'm all laying on the ground crying and shit. You know? Oh yeah, dude, it was bad. You know, we're not using pads back then. You know, it was just
This is in the park, people.
in the park across the street. You know what I mean? Yeah, but no, it was cool. I mean, that the fight you're talking about, that was it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty cool one. I mean, I think I lost. I'm pretty sure I didn't win. Pretty sure I didn't win. I mean, the dude picked me up and slammed me on the table, but I mean, I didn't win that fight, you know? I mean, I just got lucky and kicked him in the face. You know? And just flailing my legs around, you know? It wasn't like I was like, oh, some ninja, wah, you know? It's just, no, just swung my leg around and just happened to connect.
Yeah.
And
Just got
Yeah.
lucky.
yeah, then the fight was over.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, enough about fighting. It's never good to fight, kids.
Fighting. No, but fighting. I think it teaches you.
Yes.
Like, you know, your upbringing, stuff,
Mhm.
at least.
Yep.
Me and Chase
He
were
said
born
fighting
fighters.
teaches you in your upbringing and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it teaches you about like your self-respect and your respect for others,
Yep.
for
Yeah.
sure. Like
Yeah.
what you're willing to stand for.
Yeah.
We had that conversation on your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
Let me shut up and stay in the corner, all right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Come on, baby, get in the
We've
corner.
been trying to tell you.
So, yeah, then after lots of fights in high schools and trucks.
I didn't fight too much in high school, actually. It was more or less trying to make a name for myself after getting jumped forever,
Yeah.
you know, and then moving here. So, I mean, granted I was 10, so I was, 4th grade or something when I moved here and figured out that they actually fought one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like,
It's a
oh,
lot
that,
different than being teamed
This is
up on.
easy.
this is easy, right? No, high school wasn't, I mean, granted, I wasn't in high school for very long.
Where you going with that? I don't know.
How deep do you want this rabbit hole to go?
Go ahead.
So my dad got sick with cancer when I was 16 years old, right? So I basically had to take over his business for his portion of it with my uncle, all right? So that we could survive, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I went on independent study in high school. So my senior year, I think it was. No, yeah, it was my senior year. So the end of my junior year, and then my senior year, all of my senior year. Independent study, driving loads of produce to the Bay Area, doing the books, everything. I mean, granted, so my dad had lung cancer from smoking, and he just couldn't work anymore. I mean, he had half his lung cut out and all kinds of, nasty side effects from it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we didn't have the medicine back then that we do now, of course,
Yeah.
Not that I think that they're that much better anymore, but, I mean, at least there's some advancements, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have the luxury of having a full-on childhood, in
Yeah.
a sense, right? A high school experience. You gotta eat, right? So they still only paid me $40 a week. But, it's like, hey, it is what it is, right? I mean, you got to keep the family alive,
Yeah. So did your uncles live with you? Were you living with your uncles at the time?
No, at that time it was just my dad, my sister, and myself.
Okay.
Yeah. After a little bit, though, my dad and my uncle Ed moved in to a house in downtown Turlock.
Okay.
Well, not downtown, but like in town in Turlock, rather than being out in the country, right? I don't think my dad had much of a choice because he was, rolling around an oxygen tank and all that kind of stuff anyway. So, even though I was, the yard work slave, he couldn't do much of anything at that point, and he hated Andrew's mom also, by the way. Well, I don't know if he hated her. He just didn't think I was making the right decision.
I don't know. I never met him, so
I don't know, right?
yeah, I wasn't there yet.
It's kind of funny, when you think about shit like that. They say when you lose somebody else is born or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
There he is, right there.
Yeah.
So my dad died when I was 17. And it was, it was a reality check, clearly.
Yeah.
Right? But then he was born, 4 months after I turned 17? 5.
Months after?
After you turn 18.
18, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad died when I was 17, but in February of
96.
Yeah, February 96. So he was born 9 months later, something like that. Yeah. But you lose life and you gain life at the same time because you were clearly in your mom's stomach, when he died, right?
Developing.
Right. So, just Yeah, just random. It's crazy. You know, dad died when I was 17 and had to learn how to live life. And my uncle fucked me out of the produce side of the business.
Yeah, you gotta add that way faster on that.
What do you mean?
Your uncle fucked you. and-
No.
Yeah.
Nobody touched me as a kid.
You gotta word that differently.
Yeah, and I was not inappropriately touched by anyone.
Sorry, I should not have made a joke like that.
No, you weirdo. No, but my uncle basically took the produce. You know, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna be partners and this and that," and then he was just running loads without me even knowing, and you know, shit like it's off the books and so, you know. And I'm wondering why there's no money coming in and from his side. And then one day I see him driving a load out to the Bay Area. Had no idea what was even going on, you know. So I'm like, eh. So I just pissed off that, you know, I'm out of here. This is stupid. I'm gonna waste my time doing this shit and not making any money anyway. So, you know, started working at Purina.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was working at Purina before my dad died because we had a falling out because of your mom. Not because of her, but because I wasn't gonna put up with the shit anymore.
Yeah.
The abusiveness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mental, physical, whatever you want to call it. He didn't touch me in any weird fucking way like you were trying to say earlier, but
Dude, that was not. Yeah.
but no, he had no problem kicking the shit out of me for any given reason.
We're your friends, apparently, with the head slam on the table.
That was funny though. I even was like, what the fuck? Because he slammed his end on the table and then punched me. it was yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, that was awesome. Wow, no, not awesome.
No, it's just old school conversation apparently. God damn. You know, but
It's going good until you punch me.
but then, you know, I mean, he was born, well, that's a whole nother aspect. I mean, from start to finish on that.
That was loud.
Yeah, it is loud.
Somebody riding a Harley by the shop?
Yeah. Yeah, there was something else that I wanted to ask you about. I'm struggling to remember it now. Is there anything else that you want to talk
That's
about?
shitty podcasting.
Shitty
Yeah, it is shitty podcasting.
You
Normally
guys
I
are supposed to have a list of
nor-
shit.
Yeah, normally
I have a bunch of questions to ask, but I'm in the corner, so I have to stick quiet.
Yeah, normally there's a list in front of me.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
you're
have
good.
it this time.
It's in the box.
Yeah, it's in the box over there.
I mean, we've talked about
Quite a few things.
dumb shit with fighting and trucks and cars.
So
and
Andrew mentioned that earlier. What were like your three?
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
mentioned you've had a lot of cars in your life. What are like your top three favorite?
You had the Firebird.
yeah, okay, so I bought a 67 Firebird for $500 from an old lady
Like how, dude?
because she couldn't drive anymore. That was awesome. It was a 67 Firebird, and for those who don't know, like everybody that talks about Chevy knows, you know, a 283, and they know a 327, they know a 350, 454, you know, 400, whatever, right? Or 427, 454, right? So Pontiac, which was Chevy,
Yeah.
they had a 326 in the Firebird. And in this car, it had a 326 with a 2-speed power glide transmission. So it was just 2 gears. That's it. You had first and second, right? And so one of my other dumbass friends, which was cool, he was able to find a super street stock cam for that thing, even though we didn't change the 2-barrel dual carbs on it or anything, right? And we put a super street stock cam in that thing, and it was one of Chris's friends, so clearly he knew mechanics, right? So we put that cam in that thing, and then good luck staying at a stoplight. Because it was just like, just moving forward, just
Speeding
constantly.
forward.
You're just smashing the brake, dude. Because it was like all drum brakes. There was no disc brakes on that car, you know. And that thing, the thing is though, is that you can go, after we did that to it, it was like 85 miles an hour in first gear.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then you hit second, it's just all boom, like it was just like alert, it's just like a like, because it was just trying to hit second gear finally, you know. And when it finally grabbed, it was like, you know. But so Chris and I, he had this girlfriend that he got mad at, and so she lived out in the sticks, and we were in that car and he was driving, you know. I was drinking, so Chris was driving, and we went out into her driveway and he got into it with her or something, you know, was like talking to her about something or whatever, and he got into it with her and he started. She had a circle driveway. And it was all gravel. So Chris decides, he's like, I'm so mad right now, man. You know, it's you know, shitting on me and blah blah whatever. And he's like, I want to do some fucking burnouts or whatever in her driveway. And I'm like, go ahead. But it was all gravel. So you know, you're talking like not a race car, but it was damn near a race car, right? And he just starts freaking just Dukes of Hazzard, just all the way around the driveway. He made like 3 laps. And then her dad came out with a shotgun or whatever and took a shot at the car. But it didn't, it like just dinged off the trunk because we didn't see any holes in the car after we got back to his house, right? But apparently the cops were called before we got out of there. So the sheriff lights, we see him coming as he scatters out of the driveway, right? And we see cop lights, and Chris just nails it. They're flying out in the middle of nowhere. And I have no idea how fast we're going. I can't even tell you that I even know because I was just sitting in the passenger seat like, yeah, we're going, you know. And he turns the lights off so that the sheriff can't track us or whatever. But apparently he forgot that this road has like a hump in it for the crossroad that goes, and he blew through that stop sign, and that car just airborne, right? I don't know how high it was off the ground or any of that shit. I doubt it looked like the Dukes of Hazzard, right? But when we landed, it just sparks shot out the back. The back seat fell, like blew forward, and I see red. I'm like, it's on fire. It was the tail light, you know what I mean? It was just the tail light, but it sounded so loud. It was like really bad. And he's like, I think we busted one of the headers. And I'm like, just punch it, dude. We ain't getting in trouble with the cops, you know? And so we're hauling ass. Well, come to find out, it was the oil pan that split. So we lost all the oil in the car while he's still smashed on the gas pedal, right? And by the time we got to his house, he was floored in first gear, and we were only able to go like 30 miles an hour. Yeah, we pull it into his dad's shop, and it just goes swing and stops running. We seize the motor on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
And then like
$500.
yeah, $500 down the drain. Well, actually like $650 if you count the cam. Right? But then like 2 months later, I sold it for $1,200.
Oh my god!
So I came up on it like whatever with a blown motor. The car's in perfect condition. Just has a blown motor. Here you guys go. $1,200.
No mind the sparks flying out the back every time he put it
he
in
bottomed that thing out so bad, dude. It was miserable. Like, I mean, it was just like, and you see sparks just everywhere, up the side windows and all that shit. I mean, that car was so cool. I mean, that's one of those regretful things, you know, like I wish I'd have never got rid of my 64. I wish I'd never got rid of the Firebird. But it's like, dude, you know, because I mean, imagine having those cars today, and
Oh yeah.
and if they were in good condition, how freaking sweet that would be just to be cruising around. You know, it's just one of those things. But you know, dumb shit that we did when we were younger.
Yeah.
Good thing I grew up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
I've had, so the most memorable cars, yeah, one of them would be that Firebird. That thing was freaking awesome. Definitely my 64 was my first vehicle, right? I bought a car from his grandpa, Andrew's grandpa. It was a Mitsubishi Conquest TSI Turbo, right?
No idea.
You guys would have to look that up, but they only made them for 2 years.
Well,
You said a Conquest?
A Conquest, Mitsubishi Conquest.
Yeah, our internet researcher is over here fucking asleep
out.
in the
That's
corner
all
about
good.
time.
I'm getting texts from Marissa. So let me just look it up for you. It was blue. But yeah, that was a fun car.
One of these?
Yes. So imagine that, but blue. All right.
Is it like the Back to the Future car?
No, it's not a DeLorean. But that car was a rocket ship, dude. So when I bought that car from her grandpa, the turbo went out.
My grandpa.
Yeah, his grandpa, excuse me. His mom's dad, right, obviously. The turbo went out, so I took it to this mechanic in Turlock, and he worked on foreign cars or whatever. But he goes, he's like, well, I can't get this turbo for this car, but he's all, I can fit a Porsche turbo in this thing. And I'm all, wait, is it the same? Like I did. Now we all know about turbos and stuff. You know how you can get different pressures and
Yeah.
you know, different pounds per square inch or whatever. And at the time, I was like, I mean, I don't care. You know, whatever you got to put in there. And so he was able to fix it for like $700, but it was awesome. So originally that car came with like a when you'd punch it, it would go to like 7 pounds positive pressure. It had a gauge on the dash, right? And it would show you, you know, it would run like 7 psi per square inch or whatever when you're flooring it or whatever, right? Well, the new one went to like 14. Right. So all of a sudden that gauge is like tacking out almost, you know, when you punch it. But that car was a rocket ship, dude. It was rear wheel drive. Those cars are so fun. Rear wheel drive, and it just, as soon as you, like when you'd step in it and that turbo kicked in, it would just pull you into the seat. And you just, it would just yank you back. It was so cool. But I mean, the seats in that car were like the seats you see that they put in like little rice rockets now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the sport cars now, where people buy aftermarket seats that are racing seats with the belts and you know,
Yeah.
but that's how those seats were made in that car. But it didn't have the dual seat belt. It was just a single belt. But I mean, it just tucked
Hugged
you
you,
in.
yeah.
It just, the seats hugged, you know, tucked you in. And I ended up putting like 2 JBL GT12s on that thing, all kinds of shit. Like that stereo system was loud as fuck. It was so loud. But I mean, I didn't race people in it, I guess you would say, but I drove the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my godmother Vicky, her son Paul, we were at a restaurant in Livermore, and they lived in San Jose, and Paul needed something from the house or whatever, and we went in the car. He's like, man, he came up to my house the other day. Well, I say the other day, a couple years ago, and he lives about an hour and a half south here, but he's like, man, I still remember that time. You know, because he was probably like 13 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember that time. We were going like 130 down friggin' 101, man. You're just like weaving in and out of traffic in that car. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I was such an idiot back then.
Yeah.
It just didn't matter. It was, if it could do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to push it to its limits, you know? That car was super fun. Great car. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, those would be top 3 vehicles. Granted, I have a nice truck now.
Yeah.
I have a nice truck, you know. I love my truck. Can't go wrong with the Duramax, right? And, you know, remote start and all that shit. I mean, that wasn't a thing back then, you know.
So
my truck cools my butt cheeks when I sit in it, you know what I mean?
Were there governors back then?
Yes.
There was.
But
Okay.
not like the new ones. Like my truck right now, yeah, I mean it'll get there in a second, but it's you're stopping at like 97 or whatever.
97.
Yeah, it just like makes you just it just goes and then it'll slow you down a little bit and then right back up. You know.
So
But-
I haven't hit mine in my truck. I don't know if you have in yours.
I top out. Depends if I'm going downhill. I'll top out like 111 or so. If I'm on flat ground, I'll top out like 106, 107.
And I just would like the audience to know that if they look in the bottom left corner of the screen, that they will see the Sleeping Beauty.
Dude.
Thank
We
you.
tried to tell him not to come back after
we
the
did.
last
We did.
after
We
the
did.
last pause.
Good times.
So the Mustang that I had that
Mm-hmm.
you paid to fix whenever I wrecked that fucking thing. Yeah, it was 101. It would just pull me back.
You-
And so did I tell the story on the pod? I don't think I did.
Of you.
No, I definitely
You gave like a
didn't.
brief of you crashing it.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
talking about of the car.
No.
So, I threw my boy the keys one night, coming off base. I
Yeah.
won't say which one. Everybody will know though. There's a strip of like 3 miles where Highway Patrol does not have jurisdiction. Like coming off base.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not 3, it might be like 2, but
Yeah.
whatever.
It's a long stretch.
Yeah. But like the base police will go and patrol it,
Yeah.
but you know, they're always busy.
Mhm.
So, or there's just not enough of them. My buddy, I threw my boy the keys one night and he's like, okay, like, you want me to drive it or do you want me to drive it? And I was like, do whatever you want, bro. And he hit the governor. And he's like, that's unacceptable. Like the next weekend we were at another base on the lift because they had like a garage that you could rent out, like all tools, everything, $40 for the day.
Oh, that's
And
crazy.
he took the governor out of that thing. And the next, like literally the next day, we were at that same stretch, like 140, bro. Yeah, just
Oh my
taking
gosh.
that. I was like, yeah, okay, like I'm good.
Dude, my dad used to have a Honda Accord, little stick shift. It was like 99, 98 Honda Accord, and he'd get that thing to 113, and the car would shut off.
just choke out.
Dude, just choked out, dead at 113. He'd turn it back on, be doing 95.
You had to turn the key back over.
Dude, that little car was awesome.
Well, like Marissa's car. So
That's
I guess we'd explain to the listeners or whatever
That's,
that
yeah.
it's a Mazda CX-90, the new one, the plug-in hybrid, right? Which
way upgraded on your Mazda they had back in the day. Yeah. No, I'm not even talking about the truck. I'm talking about the RX-7.
yes. Yeah, the car is a freaking rocket ship though, dude. It's all-wheel drive, but it like if you put it in sport mode, it runs the electric motors or whatever with the engine at the same time. So it will rip you back because it doesn't burn out. It's just you're going right now. It's all-wheel
Yeah.
drive, you know. But I mean, today I went to pick up Jada, and I thought I was running late, so I mean, you know, past.
You were going 67.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. yeah. Plus 30 or so. But I don't know if that car has a governor, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Can they put governors in the electric motors?
I mean, you'd have to ask like
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, don't get me wrong. It wouldn't stand a chance next to a Tesla. Those things are rocket ships.
Yeah, those things rip.
0 to 60 in 3.7.
I've been in one, and well, that's the thing about. So, as an electrician, I appreciate that like 100%. So, a DC motor, there's no, like, you don't have like a power band in a sense,
Okay.
right? You're just, if you give it 100%, it's going 100%. There's no like, oh, let me, no, it's just, it's just like, there it is. That's, it might have like a fraction of a second delay or something, but there is no, I mean, any kind of electric motor, if you want it to go right now, it's going right now.
Yeah.
If it does 3,000 RPMs and you hit freaking the start button on it, it's going 3,000 RPMs as fast as it can get to it. Like, it's just right now. I don't care if it's AC or DC. So you have like DC braking. That's why you don't see Teslas actually. So Elon, if you ever see this, which I doubt you will, but Mr. Musk, if you ever see this, I suggest that you put in like a flashing brake light or something when Tesla drivers let off their gas pedal, because
the automatic brakes,
it instantly has like friction, right? So DC braking, right? So instant friction, it stops. It will slow them down as though they're hitting their brakes at like 50%. Absolutely. And you don't see brake lights.
Yeah.
So for all the listeners out there, do not tailgate a Tesla.
Yeah.
Because if they just decide to pick up their phone and let off the accelerator, your ass might rear end them, because they're just coming your direction all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They'll go from 70 to 35 miles an hour in a matter of like 3 or 4 seconds.
I did not know that.
And
That's
they
crazy.
also, they like never have to change the brake pads and those things too.
What?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to use your brakes.
Oh, true. That makes sense.
Because you can decelerate so fast that, I mean, you're only using your brakes at the very end of your stop almost.
So it's like Jake brakes in a diesel, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously you have to press a button for it in a diesel, but the engine slows it down. I mean, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I have an exhaust brake on my truck too, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if
you
I
have a
do that,
diesel, right?
yeah, the Duramax, yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll do that
Yeah.
because it just like pulls you back, right? Like a Jake brake
Yeah.
in a big rig. But he's absolutely right. The Teslas, they just it'll stop them quick, quick like. And so, I mean, I've literally almost rear-ended 2 in my work truck. not good, because you don't know they're braking. Nobody's braking in front of them, which I think.
Are you trying to say Teslas are the new Prius drivers?
Yes, that's where I was going with that right now. So the new modern Tesla drivers are the old Prius drivers, or they just brake for no reason on the freeway. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen it coming into the neighborhood, but I have one house down there has 2 Teslas in the driveway. And I'm like,
Wonder what their electricity bill's like.
yeah, bro, like there's no chance.
Yeah. So
I'm like, I'm upset that I have power in this shed. Like my electricity bill's going up.
you're right.
And I can't believe, like, it's probably a fraction of what theirs is.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, so as an electrical guy, right, or contractor, I bought my solar system. Right.
And so he was talking about like a yard work slave. I was a friggin' solar slave at his house.
Yes.
So that was,
Yes.
yeah.
So I bought my system as a contractor at a discounted rate, obviously, right? And so I put it on the house, I don't want to screw any solar companies, but for like 1/3 to a quarter of what people pay for solar systems on their homes, right? I did it at my house in 2 days? Something like that, 3 days?
Yeah, it was like 3 days.
3 days, right? And that was just me and...
I mean, obviously not including like having TID come inspect the turn power to
and
it
have
with all
inspections
that.
and all that, so on and so forth. But
Installation, it was like 2 days, 2.5 days. It was not.
And that was me running the conduit all myself or whatever, and I had
Couple
help
friends
pulling
friggin-
wire. He helped me pull wire or whatever.
Couple friends lifting the panels up to him and I on the roof,
Yeah.
so
while
we
we're
could
setting
set
them or
them.
whatever. And like brother-in-law Tony came over, Michael came over, Kevin was there. Yeah, to put the panels up.
No.
Michael, Tony, Kevin, who else? Was it Russell?
I don't remember any of them. I thought it was like
No, just to help us get the
I
panels
thought it
up
was
on the roof.
Jamie.
Oh, Jamie was there,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jamie was there. Maybe it was them.
Them and
three
Jamie.
And Jamie.
Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah,
I don't
just to
think
help,
Kevin was there.
just to hand panels up so we can
Yeah.
set them on the the track, But so, having said that, I mean, I don't have an electricity bill on my house typically.
9 months out of the year.
With the pool and all that, yeah. But I mean, I have a pool, and then now we have Marissa's car, which is a plug-in hybrid, which I put a fast charger in, right? So I installed a fast charger from, you just run some conduit from the panel over to the center of my garages or whatever, and so she can run the cord outside. But even adding that to it, I mean, the highest bill I've had is like $208 or whatever it was.
Dang, that's crazy.
In the middle of summer, when it's been 110 for 3 weeks straight, you know what I mean? So, granted, we do HVAC, so my system's top of the line. It's old as shit.
Yeah.
It's 24 years old, 25 years old.
Dang.
But no, 21 years old. So my system is 21 years old, but it's in top running condition because of what we do for a living, right?
Yeah.
So, I couldn't imagine though having 2 Teslas and then not having solar, because I know for a fact that her car, charging her car, so you plug her car
And
in.
it's not even full electric.
No, it's a hybrid, but it's a plug-in hybrid. But she might not have to get gas for 2 months
Yeah.
because she plugs the car in, and then I, did the kilowatt per hour calculation.
She's never gone 2 months without putting gas in there. She
over
drives
a month.
lot.
Over a month, she does drive a lot. She's already put like 22,000 miles on that car, and she's only had it for a year. Yeah. That's why you don't go up in Modesto 3 times in one day, babe. Just saying. But anyway, 2 Teslas. I mean, dude.
Yeah,
Because even with the rapid charger, I think those things take like 2 hours to charge or something like that, don't they?
Well, I'm not sure.
I don't
I
know,
don't
but that's-
know anybody with one.
that's nuts.
Well, Daniel has one. My cop buddy.
Oh,
Yeah, he doesn't have solar.
Around the corner from
Yeah, he
you?
doesn't have solar on his house, but he was super ecstatic to get that thing. And I helped him put in his charger and all that shit. And he was just like, yeah, dude, gas is $5 a gallon or whatever, at this time when he got it. And he's like, dude, I'll charge this thing and I'll drive 3 days to work. No big deal,
how much are you actually saving on that, though?
Not a lot. I mean, granted, we don't have PG&E, so we're fortunate, all of us. Like, you have MID, right?
Yeah, just PG&E for gas.
And no shitting on my brother-in-law Tony or nothing, but PG&E is a fucking ripoff. I mean, they're charging 56 cents per kilowatt hour, where we pay 13
Holy cow! For TID?
for TID. I pay 13.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
I think it might be
as well.
14
Do you have
now,
PG&E?
but
We
Electric?
have. I think it's
No, you
MID
have
for
that.
electric.
Yeah.
So, but PG&E, think about the people that have, so once again, this could be political or not. You have a company like PG&E charging 56 cents per kilowatt hour, right? And you have the same exact electricity coming from small companies like MID and TID. So, and I say small, I mean they're massive still, but small compared to PG&E, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so like I have solar and I don't have a bill like 9 months out of the year, right?
Yeah.
But I have to pay a connection fee because it's, bullshit regulations or whatever. But that comes out of my credit because I produce more than I use for 9 months, right? And but if I had PG&E, I'd have to more than double the size of my solar system in order to even cover the shit.
That's nuts.
No, I have to damn near quadruple the size of my solar system in order to be able to cover the same exact equipment that I have now.
That's crazy.
Which people that have PG&E then are also spending like $60,000 for a solar system on their house.
Yeah.
Whereas you can get by here with like 35 to 40
Mm-hmm.
Installed for you.
Yeah.
Not doing it yourself.
And I did it for 10. That's including conduit, wire,
Yeah.
everything, disconnects, so on and so forth.
Still having a big stretch over here. Finally
Yeah.
wigging back up or what?
Nope. Time to just switching sides.
Yeah, I mean we've damn near done 3 hours.
Yeah, 2.5.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we were inside for like 20
Yeah,
minutes.
2.5 on the is what the thing says.
Oh, that thing tells us that. Oh, that's cool. Do you want to get into your conspiracy theories or
As far as what?
I say we save that. Let's
Save
that.
it?
My wife's at home.
Yeah.
She's had dinner ready for me for a while.
Yeah.
Let's
My
go
wife
take
just
us to
texted,
some-
hope you've eaten something. And I was like, I did. I'm good.
Eat tortilla. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Trying to watch my girlish figure, you know what I mean?
All right then. I guess I guess we call it there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today. That was
Absolutely.
Fun.
We're going to need to make this like a mini series or something, like a
yeah.
like a 15-part. You want to keep getting deep on shit,
Yeah.
And then we keep getting sidetracked and moving on to side stories from a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This one's a lengthy one.
Absolutely.
We're gonna blow Joe Rogan out of the water here pretty soon.
No. Gotta love
Not
Joe
on
Rogan. though.
viewership, but
no, not on
Yeah.
viewership, but
maybe length.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that's a hard thing to do. That fool's got
Yeah.
a long podcast.
I love
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. That guy, I mean, I just like his nonpartisan way of bringing things
very
to the
centrist.
table.
Oh,
Absolutely.
We'll talk to anybody. Yeah, like that.
Absolutely. Well, he hasn't had Trump on.
He won't.
Not yet.
I know, but why?
That's
my only hang up, Mr. Rogan.
He's not.
You got to get him from every angle, man.
No,
I don't care how you agree with them or disagree with them. You got to talk to everybody. If we all can't have a
won't.
conversation, it's not even worth having. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even worth.
I've
time.
heard him say he won't. He doesn't want to have them because it's too. Like it's just too one side of the spectrum.
Mhm.
Like he also hasn't asked, Nancy Pelosi or anybody like that. So he's not going too far
Either
outside the
direction.
spectrum.
Yeah.
He's asked Tulsi Gabbard. Like obviously Tulsi
I love
Gabbard.
her.
I love her. Like that's probably the only person I'd vote for on the left, to be honest. If
RFK for me.
I like him too.
No, I love that guy.
His last couple things that he's come out with are a little bit off kilter for me.
No. No, he's straight. He's straight up. He's straight up, dude. I mean, let's not get political right now.
Let's
It's
wrap
a
this
whole
up.
conversation.
We're trying to save it. But
Yeah, but just real quick, let me just say real fast. The reason I say RFK is because he's just a straight up dude. And I voted Democrat my entire life until Donald Trump. because I can't agree with the left anymore.
Yeah.
Because they left me, I didn't leave them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big union guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Union electrician and this and that. It was vote left no matter who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, do your thing, because they back the damn unions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was always, yeah, absolutely, I want work. I just saw this country start turning into a shithole.
Yeah.
Especially, it's worse now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, we'll
continue.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll save that for another one.
Yeah.
Scratch.
We'll save that one for
No,
another
we don't cut anything.
one. But thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the Bills Podcast. As always, like, comment, follow, subscribe. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I feel like I'm forgetting one.
Oh, this one will actually be out when I say it's going to be out.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
be out in 2 days.
Yeah.
From the time we're recording it. We have 140 or so
Let me
listens
be
on
exact though.
on just Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah, go ahead and
We're at 133 right now.
okay, 130. So 133 if you want to be exact. 150 on all platforms.
135.
Oh my god, dude.
It takes a second though.
Yeah, 140 in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
This one, will be over that, but we appreciate everybody for listening. If you even made it this far, this was a long one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we appreciate everybody that has listened.
Definitely give some input.
Yeah. Definitely give some input. So far, only the old people have found out how to comment on Spotify. Ted and my mother.
Hey, yeah, come on, youngsters.
Yeah.
Get it out there. I mean, tell these guys what you really want to hear. Kind of thing.
Yeah, seriously, let us know what you want us to talk about. Like we're here for you guys. I mean, obviously we want to sit here and have good conversation and stuff. So, whatever you guys, if you guys got ideas for what you guys want to hear, let us know. There's only 19 followers on Spotify, and our audience size on Spotify is about 30 people. So if you're not following, hit the follow button. Definitely help us out a little bit. But yeah, thanks again for listening. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.